Hello, and welcome to yet another spooky edition
was
of
good.
Q&A Thursday.
Love Crystal Ball Dane.
Yes, love it always. And, of course, we have a crystal ball here
We do.
to join us in the middle. I believe this will be Anthony. Yes, there he is.
Ta-da!
Oh, at least he's with us here in spirit.
He is. I talked to him the other night. His plan is to come back on Monday.
Oh, okay.
To be at work.
Exactly when we're not here.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you guys are going to have
cool.
to wait at least another week. He'll be in the building, but we're not doing a podcast and we're not doing a Q&A next week. So
Right. We'll be busy down at SEMA and he'll be here doing whatever it is he does when we're not around.
That's going to be it's going to be strange. I'm excited for the media team to be able to just experience a lone Anthony without you and me there to keep him kind of on track.
He's a bit of a chaotic element in the overall scheme of things.
There's going to be a lot of questions like, do you consider yourself more of a Pepsi or a Diet Pepsi person? A lot of questions about that. He'll probably have more questions. Like he'll probably have questions for Nick, who's also a father. Nick, are you more of a Huggies man or a Pampers kind of man? Or he'll be like, are you more of a wet wipe kind of person? Or he's gonna have a lot of new things. Like, do you like Infamil or maybe one of the other? I don't remember the name of the. I don't remember the names of the. Similac. There you go. Yeah. Thank you, Nick. Yeah,
I don't know. I worked at a hospital. All they had was Infamil. So.
Yeah, he's gonna start asking. Because Anthony is always a good comparative person in the sense that he always likes asking those types of questions. Only now it'll be baby related. So that's going to be fun. So I'm very excited.
That is fun. So he's replacing all of his technical Honda questions.
Right. With that's what I feel. But I had a good conversation with him the other night, and he was basically telling me about a so I know there's a lot of fathers out there.
Okay.
Right?
You amongst them.
I'm not gonna ruin it, but I am gonna tease it and let him tell the story. But
boy.
Those fathers out there, everybody has this, when you become a dad, Dane, you get what's known as dad strength.
Oh, I know dad reflexes.
It's also it's part of that. You get a dad strength. It's superpower that has to be activated within your body.
So strength is like an optional package?
Strength is one of the things. Like you're all of a sudden able to grab your child by their leg and you don't realize it. Or you can carry 2 car seats at once, but you normally wouldn't be able to.
I mean, it kind of sounds like some people might want to call CPS on people who do those things.
It's when the child falls off something, Dane. You got to be able to grab them fast and hold them, so your grip strength increases.
So it's more of a savior, not an aggressor.
Right. Now, most people, would roll for these attributes, correct? Extra, maybe 10 plus on the strength, maybe a +8 on dexterity, things of that nature, right? So you've got your reflexes are much faster.
Sure.
Intuition usually goes up, so you're like, I think this child is hungry. I should probably get them something to eat.
You're not necessarily smarter, but you are sharper.
You're sharper, right. You're a little more dazed, a little more tired. That takes a toll. And you do gain a little extra body weight because you eat a lot and you're mostly hanging out. Yeah. But to get these powers, and I know there's a lot of dads in the chat, you have to be baptized by something that the child does to you. And yep, there you go, Chris. Mom supervised growing extra arms as needed. Agreed. It's usually has to do with bodily fluids of that child have to get you. That's the only way. The only way. And Nick, guys. I think you'll agree.
Man.
100%. Well. So let's just say Anthony got baptized the other day.
Oh, lovely.
So very funny story. I'm going to leave him to answer it, but I told him the good news is your dad powers have been activated.
Well, that's good.
So had to have that happen, and pretty good to happen in the first 2 weeks.
Oh, Anthony's a master storyteller. I look forward to hearing how he conveys the message.
It's going to be great. So anyway, so it is Q&A Thursday, Dane. It is Friday Eve, and it is the last show for at least a week. We're going to be off for one whole week.
Yeah, not like a normal, like, for the week. It's like,
we're off.
2 weeks because we're going to be gone next week. And then the week after that is when we come back
Correct.
and do Q&A.
Exactly.
So you guys will have to survive until then.
So you better get your dose and get ready to listen to it again and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, Dane, what kind of comments do we got?
Yes, we have comments, we have questions, because, of course, and this is where the audience asks the questions. We provide answers.
The only housekeeping that we have to attend to. You guys, follow Rag Company on Instagram. Follow Rag Company on Facebook.
Yes.
Follow Rag Company on TikTok just for fun, the Tickety Talks.
That's some fun there.
But follow those two specifically to keep up to date with what we're going to be doing at SEMA while Dane, myself, and Juan are down there. You guys can also follow Juan Gonzalez or All Season Detail on TikTok, Verdugo ASD. I think it's just Juan Gonzalez now, or All Season Detail. But follow. If you guys haven't done it yet, follow so that we can all get on there and you guys can keep ahead and see what we're doing next week. It's going to be fun.
I'll do you one more there where if Nick can pull up our normal lower third that has our Instagram handles on it as well, there may be times where we actually post on our personal Instagrams as well.
I probably
won't, people
but
may want to take a look at those as well. Oh, that's right.
I'm
apologize.
now on,
you on your IG, something didn't work, or
no? I am abstaining.
Okay, that's right.
From
okay,
Instagram.
so it's just me.
I have been off Instagram for 1 year.
That's right. I always tag you and stuff, and I never even think about it. It's just instinct.
It's all right. It's still open, and I log in so that I don't lose my account.
At least other people see I tagged you, so keep it relevant.
But I haven't posted for over a year.
Well, you did a pretty cool car recently. It'd be cool to see that on
I
there.
can't post any of that until the show debuts.
Right.
So, but yeah, no. So, but I will be updating Facebook, and you'll be able to see that. Anything we're taking pictures of, we might be sending back home to Anthony, so he'll have some work to do. But the point is, follow along with us. And if you haven't signed up for the podcast discussion group, please join that as well, because we'll probably be posted in there as well. And let's get to it.
All right, let's get to it. So we've got Alex starting things off
very
strong.
Nice. Saying, happy Friday Eve, TRC Open. Everyone is taking advantage of the sale. Have a great Halloween weekend. Thank you, Alex. We appreciate it.
And I see a lot of those shirts out there now. It makes me happy. The one you're wearing.
Oh, there we go.
New
Halloween
What's the
shirt.
back look like real quick? Can you show?
It's freaking bats, Dane.
Yeah.
Love it.
Bat country. There we go. Nice. Next up, we have classic Q&A commenter.
It wouldn't be a Q&A without Dan Pfeiffer saying a good afternoon and word up from Rainy, Minnesota, USA. Happy Friday Eve, TRC crew. Let's do that. Nice. I can't believe I burst right through that.
Thank you,
First
Dan.
from Puerto Rico saying hello. What's
Umberto.
up, Umberto? Han saying whoop whoop, the Dreammaker's here. I saw he got his Halloween shirt and his Dreammaker shirt.
Oh, right.
I think he got some Dreammaker to play with.
He's a little further away than most.
Yep. Grant saying TRC.
Yeah.
And then Adam Hancock saying Friday Eve, TRC, best part of the work week. Thank you.
Hey,
thank you, Adam. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Hans.
We enjoy doing
everybody.
this too.
Umberto, Dan, Alex, all you guys. And then Ed Iverson posting on the Rag Company podcast discussion group. Happy All Hallows Eve, ready for some great new baby stories and hijinks.
Oh, boy.
He posted all of his daughters wearing
I saw that. They
shirts.
love the
Looks
shirts.
great.
That's awesome.
Really great. Cervantes says,
Hey.
what's up, guys? What are you doing, David? And then Grant says, congrats to Ulysses Levano from Masters of Shine Detailing for winning the Budco comp and picking up a brand new Rupes Mark III 15 millimeter from last weekend.
Way to go.
Yeah, Ulysses, good work. I did not know you named your company Masters of Shine. Masters of the Shine, I guess you could say.
Masters of the Shine.
Yeah.
Yes. The keeper of the crypt.
That.
You're the crypt keeper, but he's the keeper of the crypt.
He is the keeper of the crypt. Masters of the Shine. And then Sean Prince, so glad I discovered this awesome Q&A. What cars do you guys drive?
Oh, why don't you tell him about... Well, just tell him everything. We got time.
Dude, so Sean, thank you. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. We drive a lot of different things. So
yeah, we have very eclectic taste.
So current stable, I have a 01 Chevy Suburban, 3/4 ton, 8.1 liter big block.
Bad
that is
boy.
fully wrapped in the Rag Company livery. and we call that one Ragnarok. It is Dane's childhood Suburban that I got from his dad. And then I have a 2006 Hyundai Elantra GLS in silver, lowered. It's also known as the high performance machine.
That was the first car you bought new,
149,000 miles or 46,000 miles on the clock. The car is up there. But yeah, first car I ever bought brand new off the lot with about 30 miles on it. 16 years later, still rolling it, still driving it. Mostly out of spite. It's a spite thing for my dad.
You haven't killed it yet?
No. But I have that, and then I've got, obviously still have the 94 Chevy pickup that from our Cheap Car Challenge. And then I have a truck bed trailer named Green Bean.
Yep.
And then I have a 2014 Toyota Camry Sport, SE Sport.
Yep.
With the paddle shifters. It's pretty dope. But those are my cars. I've probably owned, I don't know, 35, 40 cars in the 42 years I've been alive. But yeah, so those are my cars. I like a lot of older stuff. I also like a lot of newer stuff, but I'm a simple pleasure.
Just show them your arm.
Well, that's my Oldsmobile. But spite.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a little deep dive here.
Absolutely. It's a good story.
So my wife and I needed a car to be able to drive back and forth to Utah to visit her family.
Yeah.
Right? My wife was driving a 1996 Hyundai Accent, 5-speed, 2-door, no air conditioning, bare bones.
Yeah.
She had been driving that since 96. The year was 2006, basically. Yeah. That little car started burning oil. Had about 100,000 miles on it. And it was the pre-2000s Hyundais, so they weren't that great yet.
No, they had a reputation as being...
So right at 100,000, things started burning oil, quite a bit of oil. I was driving an 83 Honda Accord.
83.
And I had a 73 Chevy pickup.
Oh,
I also still had my 76 Oldsmobile, as well as a 68 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. None of those vehicles had air conditioning. None of those vehicles were really, truly capable of doing 4 or 5 trips a year down to Utah.
I was going to say, I bet it was a gamble that they'd start each time.
No, the Honda was really good.
Well, the Honda, but I mean the others.
Yeah, no AC.
Yeah.
The other 3 got horrible gas mileage.
Oh, of course.
Anyway.
Malaise era stuff.
Yeah, so plain things was my wife and I were talking, and she's like, I really need a new car. We were recently married. We'd only been married about a year, not even, maybe 10 months. Mm-hmm. And we thought, okay, this is going to be the first real purchase of our married life.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Buy ourselves a new car that she would drive. So we'd sell her car, buy this car, and then we would have that as our road trip car.
Of course.
So we don't have to worry. So I buy it, get a great deal on it. We're laughing because it's an automatic. She's been driving a stick since high school. She's like, I don't know how to shift.
I moved the stick once.
Yeah, she's laughing about that. And then air conditioning. Sweet AC. We were like, wow, this is nice.
Oh, kiss like 30 horsepower
goodbye. This is great. So we buy it. Drive it over to my dad's house to show it off. I paid $18,000 for the car.
Yeah.
Financed it. Our car payment was like $210 a month. Like, pretty doable.
Sure.
Pretty reasonable.
For a new vehicle.
Brand new car. $200 a month.
And that's not a lease. That's actually like finance
purchase. Like very simple to do.
What were the terms on it lengthwise?
I think we did a 5-year, 6-year loan. Nothing major.
But
the point
not like these 84.
No, but the point was we were happy to pay it because for us it was like, even if I did I think I did a 6-year loan on it. Mm-hmm. Point was I was happy to pay it because I was like, this is going to be a great little car for us for 6 months. And that was the beginning of Hyundai's reliability.
Right.
Like where they are bulletproof.
They had the reputation then, but they had been getting better. So at this point, you were getting something that was actually going to hold up.
It was of the new generation of like the things
and it's proven itself.
So my dad, we drive it. My dad gets in it. He's like, wow, yeah, that's okay. It's not too bad, little car. Not bad. And then I go, what's up? And he's like, well, I don't think that was a smart financial decision on your guys' part because I don't know if you know this, but as soon as you drove this car off the lot,
it's the classic. Oh, you lost.
You've lost all this in depreciation.
5 to 10%.
You're never going to get it back. You're going to have to own this car for like 10 years to really get your money back, right? That's the main reason I'm still driving that car, and I don't have a reason to want to sell it or get rid of it. Mostly spite.
But you make yourself feel better about it by calling it the high performance machine at all times.
I've lowered it. I've done some stuff to it, but that little car is still, it's only ever needed tires, wiper blades, and a battery in 16 years, 140,000 miles. Yeah. That thing is bulletproof.
It's basically your third child.
It's been amazing, and that's why. So a lot of people go, "God, why do you drive that little beater? It's kind of a cheap." I'm like, no, it's got significance, but mostly it's out of spite.
And it's got character.
It makes me feel good that I drive it. I love pulling up if my dad's in it.
Every time you drive it, it's a big middle finger to your dad.
Mostly. Just like, oh yeah, I have to keep it for 10 years, huh? All right, Pops. Had it for 16. And I jokingly referred, because he bought, when he was my age, he bought a 1980 Datsun.
Yeah.
Bought that brand new off the lot. And then drove it until 1993 and put it up for sale.
He's a very
He had it for 13 years. He had it for 13 years, and then he sold it for like $1,200.
Yeah.
So I knew I at least had to beat that 13-year mark to prove him wrong. So I'm at 16 now. And I don't foresee myself getting rid of it anytime in the next 2 to 3 years.
There's not really.
So I may keep that car for almost 20 years, 19 years before I get rid of it and get something else. So it's pretty dang good. Yeah. So that's. But I just wanted to digress on that.
I like that.
Funny. But Dane's got all the cars.
Well, a lot of people have made fun of me, especially the last year and a half, 2 years, because I have gone through so many cars. Not because I've destroyed them or anything.
Yeah, you didn't have that many.
I literally just wanted to have certain car experiences. Yeah. And then once I had that experience, I'm like, I'm good. I can move on now. And so, I was like checking boxes. So I always wanted to have a third gen Montero, which other people look at like, really? But even as a sports car guy, and I got one of the absolute worst ones ever.
Yeah.
But it was just, I just wanted to try because I always thought they looked cool and I just wanted to try. And sure enough, despite the obvious issues with that particular one, I could see how other people liked the model itself.
You still could buy yourself a nice one.
Oh, sure.
Like $6,000 or $7,000 and get a decent one.
But the funny part is now I don't feel that desire, that need to. So I'll just, without dragging us on a really long time, I'll just say what I've got right now because I'm sitting at
probably
3
at the
right now.
But you're right now probably at the highest, best level of cars you've ever owned.
Well,
right?
That's heavily weighted on the scale by a vehicle that I won in a prize giveaway. But okay, so I'm a big fan of depreciation, like your dad said and all that stuff. I like to buy a car after it's depreciated. Yeah. So find something where it's at the bottom of the curve and maybe give it a few more years and it starts to pick up again. Or maybe it doesn't, but you know what? It's more important the experience matters to me. So I always wanted to have a grand touring car, like something cool. Like I always thought Aston Martins were cool and stuff like that. And of course, that price-wise is just way out of my range. But you know what's not? Jaguar XKRs. And I found one for about $23,000 on eBay. And I flew down to Texas. I bought it and I drove it back up here. And I've just been toying and modifying with it ever since. I'm so happy with that thing. And I love it.
That's a $100,000 car.
When it was new, it was over $100K.
And it is literally the same chassis designation setup as an Aston. I mean, they're basically both.
The funny part is it came with the better engine, though. Yeah. The 5-liter supercharged V8.
Well, I have that thing too now. But there is a whole Top Gear episode where they talk about that model Aston and that model XKR, and all of them agree you buy the Jag for less, for almost $50,000 less.
It's an
for the same
car.
car.
It's
for the same
great car. And despite Jaguar's, I would say, history, it's actually reliable.
It's the most Ford.
A lot of people are surprised. Yeah. It is very reliable because it was during a time when Ford owned them.
Yeah, it's the most Ford Jag.
It was before Tata got in and all that stuff. So it actually has a new design as of 2007, all that stuff. But no, I've been really happy with it. I got it tuned. It's got over 650 horse, at least at the crank. It's got a smaller pulley. It's got custom exhaust and all that stuff. It's fun. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think that's a long-termer. But it's wrapped green right now. It looks crazy. The other one is the Ford F-350, which I won in a giveaway. I bought shirts and pants, and in return, I was gifted this basically $130,000, $140,000 pickup truck. Obscene. It's so crazily modified, all that stuff. It's definitely like a SEMA type truck.
Yeah.
Which anybody who knows me knows I'm not like a big pickup truck guy, but it's an F-350 dually with a freaking Starry Night headliner. It's got a lift. It's got Fox shocks. It's got these ridiculous 26-inch wheels
American
with 37-inch
wheels.
tires,
Yeah.
rubber bands. I mean, the whole thing is absolutely nuts. And yeah, I've enjoyed the experience because I would normally never put myself in that situation. But having experienced it, I love that. I'll never forget it. But I also agree it's probably time to move on into something a little different. Yeah. But apart from that, the only other one I have right now is a Toyota Town Ace, a 1994 van. I just bought it recently. It's a right-hand drive van from Japan. I absolutely love that thing. Yeah. It's just something so fun. It reminds me of my old Miata. Just the feeling of like a lighter weight vehicle that has that slight jankiness of like the early 90s Japanese vehicle. But I love it. I just love it. And I know it seems odd for somebody to have those vehicles and like them equally, but I really do.
There you go.
So that's where I'm at.
And Anthony has an Evo that he never drives.
Yes, a beautiful, gorgeous Evo. And a Civic he drives, frankly, too much. Yeah.
All right. So there you go, Sean. Welcome to the show. If you haven't yet, go to the Rag Company podcast discussion group and meet the team and everybody there. All right. Carissa saying mom's superpower is growing extra arms. And then Neil White, hey, TRC team, dad of 3. I don't remember gaining strength. I remember losing all of my energy. Well, Neil, like I said, you probably didn't get the baptism that everybody else got. Ken Jeeper, watching an FAQ vid on glass towels. First time hearing about fracturing. I think most people, including myself, confuse it with linting. Be a good FAQ talking about the difference. That is kind of what it is. So like I said in that video, in case you're wondering, you take a all-purpose terry weave towel. When it's on paint, the glide is different. It's designed to move, but glass is a different surface tension. And so when you hit glass with that type of towel, it causes what we refer to as fracturing, where just like dry brush, like you take some sticks that are dry, kindling, and you break them on your leg and they break, and you got all the little splinters and all that stuff, and you're snapping twigs and you're putting them down. It's basically what's happening to the microfiber on the surface.
Yeah.
So while you're running it across the glass, you're just breaking all those fibers because the glass doesn't have enough glide, and that towel isn't really designed for that, which is why we make so many different glass-specific towels.
Yeah.
1, to reduce that glide. 2, to reduce the energy on that, and tighten the weave so we minimize the potential for that. A lot of people see that on their glass and they go, well, there's lint all over it. Huh. It's actually not lint. It's fractured fibers that are on the glass. Linting can happen when you have dust piles and stuff that kind of where pieces of the actual material is broken. Same reason. It's still fractured fibers.
Yeah.
On a microscopic level, but it looks like lint on the edges of the cloth. So that's what we talk about. But yeah, that is a good FAQ idea. Thank you, Ken. Appreciate that. So, hey, Mike C. Just the last couple days, it stormed heavily. Lots of leaves, pine needles, and debris fell all over my coated car. Amazingly, it lost all hydrophobics, and it's a very flat sheet of water. That's because your car is dirty.
Yeah. Clean that off. You will find the hydrophobics are back.
Seriously, if you wash it, like I know when you went to wash it, you were like, what the heck? Clean the surface. And then if that doesn't work, clean it even harder. Use a degreaser. Use a fallout remover or something on there to help break loose whatever that gunk is. It's just dirt. It's just dirt.
With all the pine needles and leaves and things.
You got a lot of material.
Dust and dirt in the air.
A lot of material. A lot of pollen still.
Oh, pollen.
A lot of that stuff gets stuck and bonded to the car. So remove that. So Dirk saying, hey, together, greetings from Germany. Dirk, how are you, man? Cervantes saying Anthony has received the Golden Fountain Award. There you go. Weaver Details saying I have CSL EXO that is 18 months old on a daily driver that is kept outside. Do you think I will have to wet sand it to remove? No, you shouldn't have to.
Not EXO.
Yeah.
Mike back again.
He says pretty wild stuff. I guess that's what happens when you face the fall and the winter debris. Yeah, there's just a lot of dirt, man. It's just a lot of dirt. You got to think about all that stuff was on there. That's what you get. So. It's just dirty. Just clean it. Ed Iverson saying his dad's superpower was extra patience. Interesting.
Hey, patience is a virtue, and it's hard to come by. But boy, keep the people around you who are patient.
I wish I had it. I'm still working on it, and I've been a dad for over a decade, and I'm still trying to learn patience. So
they'll save you a lot.
Ridiculous. Hey, TRC family, do you guys sell any fabric coatings like CarPro Fabric?
We were messing around with one yesterday.
So, in the Alcantara, the Color Lock Alcantara kit and fabric kit comes with a waterproofer. And then the shoe cleaning kit also comes with the actual waterproofer.
Which is the one I was referring
to. You can use it on carpets, but they use it for shoes. But it's the same product, just put in the shoe cleaning kit. Now, as to we have Smart Fabric by G-Technic. They have that. But we don't have like a proper heavy-duty coating fabric because we do. We have Ragtop.
Yeah, Ragtop would be the strongest.
Ragtop's probably the strongest
because it's
one.
exterior fabric that it's meant to protect.
Yeah, and and I'm kind of picky when it comes to certain fabric and carpet waterproofing agents.
Everybody
so many people
just goes and gets like Scotch Guard from Home Depot.
Scotch Guard's really still like a king on that.
Yeah.
But people seem to forget and don't understand. Like I said, it's more of a 30-second to 1 minute rule with a fabric coating. It's got to be able to hold that liquid on the surface.
Yeah, the hardwood
before
floor
it
analogy.
penetrates.
You have a timeline that you can attend to the mess, and if you don't get it in that time frame, the coating isn't going to save you.
Yeah, so that's kind of the deal. But like, there used to be a never wet product that you could put on your shoes and on stuff, and the theory was that you'd step in a puddle and you pull your foot out.
Look, it just falls off.
The problem is that foot is never sitting in the puddle. It's in the puddle for a second and pulled off, or they're throwing liquid onto the shoe, or they're dripping water onto the shoe so you can watch it run off, but you're not submerging it. And the moment you submerge it, it's gonna go bad. So
it can't fill too big of holes in the weave. I mean,
so no matter how tough it is, it never creates a full bond. So I try to watch out for that the most and keep an eye on it.
At that point, you're just gluing your shoes.
Yep. So, but you can check out some of them. Kirby Thompson says, "Afternoon, Levi and Dane. You too, Anthony. Looking forward to your news from SEMA. Thank you.
Should be interesting this year.
Yeah,
for sure."
Jay Bass says, "Best day of the week, Thursday. TRC Q&A." And then Espen says, "Hey, from stormy Norway.
Ooh.
Hadu, after Rupes made the Bigfoot machines, that's so god at both correcting and finishing the paint. Do you feel like rotary is a dying skill? In Europe, it's split opinions. Espen.
The people who love it still love it.
Yeah. So I'm working on that car in my garage, and I need the rotary.
Yeah.
I found that I need to get it, so I need to take it home with me and work on it.
Need is a strong word. Do you really strongly prefer it?
No, I need it.
It's so you don't think you could achieve the same results on a long enough timeline with a DA?
No.
Okay, interesting.
And it's only because of the surface that I'm working on.
Okay.
So like,
and what is that for people who are listening?
It's fresh paint, fresh clear.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just so the clear that I'm working on, I'm sanding. And I'm noting that when I'm cutting I am cutting really well with my blue Rupes pads, the coarse wool. That pad really loves that paint. Mm-hmm. And I'm using last cut. But I'm noticing that I'm not getting enough cut.
Okay.
And so to increase the cut from what I'm using on my 15 without increasing the compound, I don't want to increase the compound and I don't want to increase the pad. I need to change the direction of the tool. Mm-hmm. So I need the rotary to do that.
Gotcha.
So I can create a consistent scratch pattern that's a little more set, and then I can do the rest of then I can finish with the DA.
So the main reason I was asking was because I was thinking maybe somehow there might be a possible way you could replace what you would be doing with the rotary with just more finite sanding. And then move to DA.
Yeah, I could, but
you don't need to.
No,
it's mostly just to get the best result. You're following through
this
how you
paint
feel it works.
Job has a number of layers in it, and so I'm trying to get right now I'm working on the hood and the trunk, and I need to get those as flat across the board as possible.
Sure.
The roof was far more 3D. It had different layers of different stuff, so I couldn't really finish the roof the way I wanted to because of all the layers in it. So I did it as best I could. But on the hood and the trunk, I have the capability to flatten it out even more.
Okay.
Because of the process in which it was painted. right? The white was painted, the purple was painted, the purple was the next layer of purple, and the next layer of purple was all painted. And then everything was buried in clear. Where on the roof, it was flake, splatter, clear, then 350 knockdown, then design, graphic tape.
So there's clear in between layers.
There's clear in between certain layers. So it's more of a...
To give it that 3D effect.
More of a 3D effect that's hard to remove. I can't... Because there's no... Like, I can flatten out the area, but it's still underneath the clear.
But still, the second you screw that up anywhere, it's stuck that way.
Right. So... But what I'm noticing is I've got it flat on the panels, and I'm noticing that if I had a rotary, I could cut that out more evenly, create a better, more even cut, and then finish it with the dual action and get it out more. So it's kind of a long way around, Espen, but it's still a tool. Mm-hmm. And I would never tell anybody never to try something or never to use that. It's a tool needed to get you to a certain finish. And if you never get into that point range, you don't need it. But if you get into that spot where you're going to need a tool, it's just like never needing a Torx bit screwdriver.
Yeah.
Not everybody's ever going to run into Torx bits. But when you run into a Torx bit and you don't have one, it kind of ruins your day.
Sure.
Because you're like, oh, try and make this work.
It's just not common enough for you to be necessarily prepared for it.
Correct. That's kind of the point of it. But if you start getting yourself into those situations, and that's why I say a lot of higher end or more experienced detailers, not higher end, more experienced detailers, notice that they hit those kind of areas first.
Yeah.
And that's, once they get to that, they're like, I'm never going to be stuck without something like that. So then they'll buy one. It may only be used a couple times a year, or it may be used every day.
But not having it is a much bigger risk.
Yeah.
So to them, it makes sense because they're going through enough that they're just going to be ready.
Yeah.
That's that. No, makes perfect sense. Jay Bass throwing in here, little Oldsmobile love.
Yeah, there you go. And then I got a like a rocket right here on this wrist.
Sure enough.
RSX Freak says, in a meeting, but I wanted to wish you guys a fun, safe Halloween weekend. Thank you, man. We appreciate it. And then Ed Iverson says, topics to discuss, methods for raising prices of your services while maintaining your client base. So back in the old days, I used to send out an email and a post on my Facebook page that just said, just so everybody knows, effective the 1st, we're raising prices 10%.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helped. All my accounts, I would send a letter to, along with their invoices for my account customers, basically stating the exact same thing. As to, for your business at home, if you have a Facebook page, you can always post on your Facebook page and state, effective this date, we're going to be raising prices because of these issues. Or these reasons.
If you frame it right, it's totally understandable. There's cost of living increases. Wages need to be met at a certain level because, hey, there's inflation. There's all kinds of things you got to deal with. Mm-hmm. And if you just stayed the same for a long enough period of time, it could even be as short as
then you can
3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
You're going to be making less than you did before, even if you're technically making the same amount.
Well, and if you have a software system in which you've created and you have a mailing list of customers, you can also send out an email to all those customers that just states, hey, say January 1st, we're raising prices. So buy kits, packages, whatever you want to do, maintenance, all the stuff at the current price before January 1st to save a little money because we are going to be replacing and changing all the prices.
That is a good sales tool.
Come the 1st. And it's a way to, one, make up some sales during Christmas, but two, you've notified them. Whether or not they read the email or
that's
not,
on them.
That's on them. I would post it there and I would post it on Facebook. Then when you have a customer call, let's say January 6th, schedule a detail, and they're like, whoa, you're, let's say it's a $300 detail. You're now $330 or $350 for the detail. And it was normally $310 or $320 or whatever your increase is. Say it was $300, it's now $350. They go, whoa, that was $50 more than last year. When did that happen?
My shop rent didn't get any cheaper.
January 1st. But you can just say that. As of January 1st, we had to raise prices because of all these different reasons.
Now, you're welcome to go somewhere else if you prefer, but you know what I can deliver.
But you can say,
and
you can say that.
The unspoken part is, You know what you get here. You trust what you get here. Would you trust it somewhere else?
Right.
I don't know.
But you can say that. You look at it, McDonald's never tells you they raise their price.
No, it just happens.
They just raise the price.
Yeah.
And when you go somewhere else usually for something else, they don't ever tell you that they're raising prices. No one really ever knows what the price of something really ever is.
They have a vague idea, but it's not like.
But if you walked into Scandinavian Design and you're like, oh, that couch was a lot cheaper last year.
Now I say this,
that's
but
different.
There's
right?
always someone out there
furniture.
who's like, I actually know the exact percent. It's like, yes, you're an anomaly. You're an exception to the rule.
But,
you're
but
not.
The point is
the norm.
But if you look at like getting a haircut, it's $20 to get a haircut now for my kids.
Yeah.
At JCPenney's.
Whereas when I was a kid, it was
less. It was like $5 to $10 for kids. Like, I look at it and go, everything's going up.
Yeah,
prices are going up. I have friends who they didn't used to charge for debit cards or credit cards to run it. Now they charge 3% if you're paying with a card.
Well, yeah, because they were getting hit with the fees.
Because they're getting hit with the fees. They're like, I don't want to get hit with the fees anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, why'd you guys raise your prices? Well, because otherwise I'm going to charge you 3% on your credit card fee.
The fact is, the price was always there.
The cost of all my equipment, the cost of all my chemicals went up 5% this year.
Yeah.
So I've had to absorb 8% of the cost. And on top of that, I want to be able to give all my guys raises this year because inflation has caused an increase. So I'm going 10% in pricing total to be able to pass that on to some of my employees because I want to be able to keep them.
You've seen that happen a lot in
such simple rules. And if you just lay it out for your customers, and even if you put it in that email, you can reference that. Hey, we sent out an email back in November and December with our newsletter or whatever. Check it out. If you didn't, I'm sorry. We also posted it on our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And we've asked everybody to follow and keep up with our Facebook page so that you know. And that's it. Call it good. Like, it's on them. And then literally just lay it out for them. I've had to do that. I still have a customer. She used to pay $160 15 years ago for me to just kind of spruce her car.
Yeah.
When I started doing it out of my house, she was like, "Hey, what's the price? Is it still $150?" And I said, "No, it's $200 out of my house for you because
That's me giving you a deal.
Because I'm in my house. Normally I'd charge $300 to do what I'm doing for you, but because she keeps me on a retainer basically. Every 6 weeks I detail her car. Every 6 weeks I get $200 from her.
Yeah.
Works pretty good. Now, her cars are spotless and they're easy, so I'm never worried. I'm not losing money in this deal.
No.
But I had to raise the price too because I wasn't going to take my weekend off to work on one of her cars for that.
And you need to understand that's very different.
Still
from being greedy
deal.
or gouging or any of that stuff.
And all I ever do with hers is a wash and a vacuum.
Yeah.
Do the windows, dress the tires, and throw bead maker on her car. That's it. That's all I do. It's silver with a black interior.
Yeah.
Spotless. They're all silver Lexuses with black interiors. She's got 3 of them.
Yeah.
So
if you're struggling to keep the lights on, your prices are too low.
So, and I can knock it out in 45 minutes. So the biggest thing is adjust your pricing accordingly, but notify everybody. If you notify everybody, no one ever has a problem with it. Honestly, I'm surprised. And I used to raise my prices every 6 months by 10%. And I just make a post or
on your social media, have something so when someone asks, you can point to it and say, I let people know.
And you can pin it.
There it is.
You can pin that stuff on top of your Facebook page. So the first post they always see is that. Alert, effective January 1st, we're raising prices.
Yeah.
So very simple. Good luck with that, Ed.
All right. We got Umberto here.
Anthony, baptized for the first time. Wait for the next one, which will be heavier, and he will say, oh, literally. There you go.
Yep.
Grant says, Levi, Masters of the Shine detailing is a hat tip to the Masters of the Universe.
Oh, it's not even a hat tip to you. It's
thanks, Grant.
It's a hat tip to freaking He-Man.
Should be saying to Ulysses. Personally, I feel like the rotary isn't appreciated for its great correcting ability. Correct, Espen.
Oh, among the people who know, yes, it is appreciated.
Yeah. Ed says, what would you consider a good first car for a new driver on a budget under $10K? 2006 Hyundai Elantra. Amazing. Great little car. Does good stuff. Honestly, any little Elantra is a great little car for that.
The hard part is the ones we grew up with being good first cars. Now they're suddenly appreciating.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you find that with the Civics of our day and stuff. Anthony trying to find one, they're all just.
Yeah, or a little Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Even any of the current Honda Civics. Anything under 10, I think is a great little car.
A Honda, Toyota. I mean, if you want something you don't have to think about, I understand there's always exceptions. Not every Toyota is as reliable as people say it is. That's fine, but for a simple first car, you want something that's not going to have any exotic materials you have to worry about in a wreck. You want to make sure you have something that has decent gas mileage and no weird, off-size wheels or tires that are going to be expensive to replace. Because there are some oddball things you find. I find depreciated vehicles, and I find these crazy
Yes, Gabriel.
Sizes. Every Toyota is reliable.
Okay.
Oh, he came in here. See, the problem is I don't paint with blanket statements because I believe in nuance and understanding that not every vehicle is going to be perfect.
Well, and now if you go back, Dane.
My opinion is these days, Toyota coasts on their reputation a little bit, and so does Honda.
I would say that.
I don't think they're as good as they were in the 90s.
I will tell you, I remember the days when Audis were not reliable, and you never...
Oh, yeah.
You never could get an Audi past 30,000 miles.
80s Audis were always a joke.
They're horrible.
Yeah.
And I will say this, though, that now every car probably in the last decade, at least, maybe 15 years, every car is capable of going 200,000 miles without many issues or problems. Now, there are flukes.
With the exception of the Audi All-Road, which is a ticking time bomb every single time.
And a $6,000 transfer case.
Yeah. But I swear, the A4, amongst high school kids, is like the Civic of today, along with the G35 and stuff, where people are just buying them and trashing them all the time.
Right.
But they're like the tuner car choice, it seems.
But the point is,
we want something quote-unquote nice.
When I was young, the carpools that we were looking for when I was in high school, you were going 20 years older. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the 90s looking at cars in the 70s.
Yeah.
Trying to get those. And I had a buddy had a 76 Maverick.
Yeah.
2-door straight 6, talking about wanting to put it, and his was clean. He also bought a 73 Dart Swinger that was spotless.
Yeah.
Little old lady car he paid $1,800 for. Those two, I just remember all the problems he was having.
Yeah.
Trying to keep them both just running right. Oh, I got to put a new carb in. I think back to my 73 Chevy pickup that I was driving in high school. Truck was 20 years old, and I remember tranny went out.
Yeah.
Rebuilding the carburetor, doing all this stuff. And the truck had like 80,000 miles on it. And then my Oldsmobile ended up overheating with a little 260 V8, the tiniest V8 General Motors ever built, 260 cubic inch V8, 110 horsepower. Got 26 miles to the gallon though.
Yeah.
That car overheating. Yeah. And that was a known issue with those cars was that they'd overheat like crazy. And so I think about all the issues that we had back in the day. And back then, in the 90s, it was like, damn, I can't believe you got an 80s Honda. Those things are awesome. Bulletproof. This is going to be great. 89, man, I remember I got an 89 Accord.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this thing's sweet. I had an 83 and an 89. I had the 89 first before the 83. But I remember going like, wow, this is a dope
I like the generation of the 89s.
I also had an 86 Maxima wagon that was the biggest pile of junk ever made. Not known. I remember people going, yeah, Nissans aren't good. Nissans are bad quality.
They are selectively good. There are certain
Nissans
ones that were definitely built better
and it was
than others.
It was that 3000 series engine that was in them. Those were horrible. And remember, the 90s, the 3000 series V6 in the Toyotas. Horrible engines, blowing all the time, blowing head gaskets left and right, overheating all the time. Like that's the worst Toyota, one of the worst Toyota motor to ever own is that 3000 V6. Like not a good engine.
A 3-liter V6.
Yeah, same one that Gabe has in his white truck. The fact that it's still running, unbelievable.
Oh no, people give those things a hard time. Everybody wants the 22 RE.
Notorious.
Yeah.
To be a failure of an engine. So even back then, we knew what was not there. So I don't know what Nick said.
Nick said they're also slower than sin, which is correct.
Too. Yeah.
But, here comes Gabe again, I bet. Yeah, there he is.
You've heard that he owns the most unreliable truck ever made.
No, that is the most common argument that the 3.0 is worse than a 22 RE.
It is.
I'm just speaking for the stereotypical Toyota groups here.
Chances of having blown head. I remember I tried to buy a 4Runner with that motor in it. My dad was like, I'm not doing that. Those are the worst engines ever made by man. And I said, okay. And then I bought one anyway because I was like, screw you, old man.
I would say probably the 3-liter V6 and the B3000 I bought, which is the same one they put into the Rangers and stuff. That had serious head gasket issues too. And that's not something I push on anybody. So anyway,
I say stick with Hyundais.
We've done a big roundabout thing, but yes, you're looking at Corollas, you're looking at Civics, the stereotypical
Dane bought his special lady friend a Hyundai.
Yeah, I got an Elantra GT.
Yeah.
And it was not expensive.
No.
And it's a 2013.
Yeah.
Got it for like $4,000.
Yeah. Went over to Winco, got some money orders. Bam.
Yeah.
Get it done.
So
Iron
it's
FPV saying, did you guys see that new Z06 will have 630 horsepower from a naturally aspirated engine? Crazy.
670, actually.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous.
Which is insane. It's not the highest horsepower per liter out of any naturally aspirated V8 production motor, but it is total numbers the most that anybody's managed so far. And it's always interesting because people get hung up on this stuff, but with smaller engines, it's easy to make more power per liter. As you get bigger, like this, where it gets to 5.5 liters, it becomes much more difficult the further you get up. So very, very fascinated by that, I almost said truck, that car.
Yeah.
And the Z06 is going to be an absolute
That's
best
a monster.
value for the money. If you can find it without the monster dealer markups that inevitably follow.
Don't you wish, saying, for the DIYer who already has a 5-inch, 6-inch DA and is shopping for a Mini, would you recommend a 1 or a 2 or a 2 or a 3? I can't have, I can't have both. So here's what I'm going to say. It's going to be pricey, but you're basically getting 2 polishers in one.
Ooh.
Flex PXE80.
Love the Pixie.
We call it the Pixie, PXE80. It's a 3-inch polisher that can be long throw, short throw, rotary as a 3-inch.
Yep.
You can also interchange the heads and go all the way down to a 1-inch pad. So you have the capability to go 1 to 3, rotary, long throw, short throw, all in one tool, and it's battery operated.
Headlight corrector extraordinary.
Great little tool. Great little tool. All of us here love that thing. It's awesome. Now
I don't polish that much, but that's like my favorite.
And we love the Rupes 3-inch, and we love the Rupes.
The Rupes 15
Uno,
plus the Pixie.
The Nano. We love the hybrid too, but
the Nano's smaller though.
Yeah,
it's
a little
different.
This kind of bridges that gap between the Nano and like a 3-inch Rupes. But it does both really well. So get that one up. Grant Hotry said, Dane, we had a Toyota Space Cruiser growing up. Google it. Hans says, what would be a good trick to remove nail polish out of fabric? Hans, do you have lacquer thinner? Try it. CJ Byrne, you guys forgot about the father's increased dry humor and wit, otherwise referred to as the dad joke. Yes, I have a feeling when Gabe has a child, that's the power that's going to come out the most.
But
It's
Gabe
already
has dad jokes more powerful than
that's what I say.
anyone can handle.
It's going to be a weapon that he's going to start using for evil rather than good.
Well, no, it's like when they turn on the Large Hadron Collider, the people are afraid it's going to open a black hole and just put a tear in the universe. You can't have that.
That's what's going to happen when Gabe has a child with dad jokes.
Good Lord. Okay, well.
Weaver Details, do you have any experience with PNS's odor dock? And if so, how do you like it? So, Weaver, we carry it, but I've never used it. So, sorry.
Now, has Anthony used it?
I have no idea. Anthony, what do you think?
Because normally, I just want to put out there as a caveat, because I know this is something
I just want him to know
address
that we haven't used it.
If we carry something, it's because these guys sign off on it.
Well,
but there is an exception in this case.
That one showed up randomly.
Yeah, so
became part of it. I think Keith sold that one to your dad.
Yeah. So just a heads up.
Yeah.
You know.
But usually 90% of the time we've tried it. That's the one product that I neglect to say that we have used. I will
just didn't want to open up the doors to somebody being like, hypocrite.
The technology of it,
yeah,
I've used multiple times and had great luck with it.
Yeah.
So there's that. Bill Pearson, what's up, my dudes? Bill from Huntington Beach saying, hey, and looking forward to some exciting conversation about TFRS. I don't know what that means.
I think I brought it up last time, and I don't know what he
Tiffers.
means.
Chris McCallum says, any idea what the green towels in the Halloween bag are? Happy to have more liquidators. I think they're creatures. The green ones?
Yeah.
I think they're creatures in it.
Pretty sure they're creatures.
Ricky saying, what's up, guys? Long time no join. How about the work on a black Dodge Challenger? Oh, I'm about to work on a black Dodge Challenger. Someone already filled with holograms. Hints as to a good first step was planning on good old TLC and adjust accordingly. That's it. He says, or leverage the Oberk system. Either one, man. Go for it. Bill says, Levi, you talk about the polymers in the O and R that search for each other and make washing easier the next time you wash. Will a foam and bucket wash with GSF remove those? I don't know. I'm not looking microscopically to see that. I'm just saying if you're using, if you're looking at through a microscope, possibly, but
The more
I don't know.
important
The point
question
is that if you're
does
using
that
O and
matter?
R, but if you're using O and R for your primary wash, every wash, it makes it easier and 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 easier to wash every time.
It's kind of an exponential
GSF
effect.
doesn't have that capability where it makes it easier to wash every time. It just washes.
It's the same
It just washes
every time.
But
Not
you
bad,
notice
it's just
it.
the same.
But you notice it when you do the other one.
Yeah. All right. Then we got poets.
Says happy Friday Eve, fellas. D-Man 4 says MailChimp is awesome for mailing lists. Espen says for Levi, hej, Harper du har fått trent lite på norska det siste. And have you ever been to Norway before?
There you go.
So no, my wife and I have been learning Norwegian. Jeg dricker vann dit Pepsi. And we've been learning Norwegian. My kids have been learning Norwegian. We've been having a lot of fun with it. It was kind of our COVID project, was to kind of learn a language as a family, and I picked
Between
Norwegian.
the forge and that, you're slowly becoming like a Viking commune in that.
Told
household
you
there.
that at the beginning of the year when we did our, 2 years ago, that I was going to be more Viking. So we've talked,
not
Norway is a trip we'd love to go. I'd love to someday take my wife there. And Lars is in Oslo this weekend.
Nice.
He's there this week doing a color lock training. I've been on a couple Norwegian podcasts, so I would love to move there someday.
Now, I don't speak it, but I am Norwegian, so I got that going for me.
So,
All right.
but thank you, Espen.
Yes,
Thank you.
that is very nice. Thank you.
Talk.
Bearded.
Hunter says, happy Halloween, my guys. When using an iron decon like Iron Buster, do you prefer to apply it on a wet or dry car? Depends on the car. So, like at my shop, I used to do a lot of old classics. And on some of those old classics, I would put iron remover on it first.
Okay.
Then I would
Almost
wash
like
it.
you're washing it with iron remover?
Yeah, I put it on first when it was dry.
Okay.
Other cars, if it was a dirty car, I'd wash the car first. Then I would, because I want to wash the dirt off. Then I want to remove.
Yeah,
the
you're
iron.
not trying to decon the dirt. You're trying
Right.
to decon the paint.
Right, but on an old car, I usually do that first because there was a good chance that it never had that happen before. So I'd get that in first, let it bleed, wash it, then do it a second time just to make sure. So just depends.
Yeah,
just
otherwise
really
you
depends.
might miss stuff.
Yeah. Mike B. Hey guys, do you have any experience or opinions on silica infused primer polishes? Not really, man. It's hard to say because the primer polishes, I don't see a reason why they need to have a silica infusion. If you're going to be coating it, doesn't make sense. As a primer polish should be a very light, simple, easy, basic polish to score the surface to make it preparation for the coating without damaging the surface.
Yeah.
It's a very fine microscopic scoring that happens. So, yeah. CJ Burns says, if you're too busy, you're too cheap. There you go.
The shop words to live by.
Cameron Messina says, hey, Levi, I saw your comment on my Facebook. Do you have like a manual for winter detailing or can you go into more detail on here?
We should just do a video.
We should, but Cameron was asking the question, like, I'm going to be detailing cars this winter. What do I do when I can't wash, like put my hose away?
Okay.
And I said, what I used to do was I would run the car down to my local pay and spray and use the wash there
Yeah.
to get a lot of the heavy stuff off. So I would prep the car there where I'd do the inner fender wells and the engine and all that kind of stuff in the bay. Then what I would do is I'd dry the car off quickly and then I'd drive it home. Now, when I was driving it, it wasn't a rainy day usually and it wasn't a snowy day. I'd just drive it home on the dry roads.
Yeah.
What would happen is there'd be sand on the ground. So I would get sand in the inner fender wells. So what I did was I would just O&R the inner fender wells to get the sand off.
Sure.
Then I would dress it, and then the car would never leave my garage. I'd have my garage heated. I would use warm O&R. I'd wipe the car down again just to get any of the leftovers on it.
Yeah.
Use my air compressor, blow it out, and then start the actual detail process inside the garage. But the car was now basically pretty much washed. I would O&R and clay the paint work to get it ready for whatever polishing or whatever I was going to do. But I would use the pressure washer down the street, hit all that stuff, and head home. Now I have hot water in my garage. And home
luxury of it all.
And room temperature. I've got my normal cold water tap. That isn't freezing. It's like house temperature. It's still enough that
indoor fixtures.
It's inside the house, so I can use that as pressure washer hose water, so I can still wash in my driveway now.
Worst comes to worst, you can always stick your bucket in a bathtub and fill it up with a shower head or something.
Right.
I mean, there's always a way.
Yeah, it's hot water.
But I would say I have noticed, at least in the last few years, there's been a lot more cracking down by car washes on people who wash with buckets and the paint spray base.
And that's the kind of the thing. But you also got to remember, if you're the only person there in the middle of winter,
well, what I'm saying is your method
really
works though, because all you're doing is you're hosing it off. You're just paying to use the hose, and then once you're done with that, you go back home.
Yeah, and it's usually hot water too. So, but that's really what I do. That's it, Cameron. And then I just wash inside my garage. So I pull it in, shut the door, turn on the heat, and grab yourself a couple space heaters, put them around. 3 or 4, add a fan to help circulate the hot air. And then I recommend putting in a temperature gauge in your garage. They're $25 on Amazon. Get a little weather station, hang it on the wall. It's going to save you so much pain and heartache because you can walk out and go, ooh, it's 54 degrees in here.
Well, and
you turn on all your heaters. Yeah, you turn on all your heaters, and then you can come back out and you're like, oh, 64. Perfect. I'll work in here. This is great. You also know what the temperature is outside. And if you're unlike you, well, now you have a child. But my children love to walk out and open the door on me while I'm out there in the garage.
Thanks,
and I
guys.
have to run over and shut it. You're letting the heat out. God dang it. So, but that's what I would do. Jody Hightower, do you guys do you have to immediately wash towels after using an SiO2 product like an SiO2 rinseless wash? I heard these products can ruin microfibers if allowed to dry. Yes, they actually seal. So best case is to rinse them or wash them or get them wet or wash them immediately. Or you can use R2R, Rags to Riches, and you can soak them in our Rags to Riches microfiber detergent. Put them in a bucket, soak them, 2 ounces of R2R and 2 gallons of water. Soak them in the bucket, then pull them out, put them in the wash with Rags to Riches, and that'll help bring those towels back to life and remove those sealants. It's designed to help break down and remove SiO2 sealants.
And not every microfiber detergent is designed to do that.
Correct.
That's where a lot of people go, well, why is this one special? It's because it's actually meant to do that.
That's what it does. Rags to Riches. So Nick says, Audis and Volkswagens have been my 2 main nemesis, which are water pumps and timing chains. Agreed, Nick. Yeah.
Wow, you went a whole thing about that, and you didn't mention electrical once.
Yeah.
that was always what I was
mostly their transmissions are always out, too. Bill Pearson. Also, what, if any, harm will leaving my Detail Factory soft bristle brush in my O&R bucket? Nothing. It'll just probably shorten the life a little more. Mostly the glue. That's it. So... CJ Burns says Nissans are the Chryslers of Japan. Yes, in the 80s they very much were.
Yeah.
Now
of the big three,
once that VQ series engine was developed, that really was the big turning point for Nissan when they started in terms of reliability. That was their first time they could actually had a car that worked well.
They were strong through the very late 80s, through the 90s, and then the 2000s they kind of fell off a cliff again.
Well, it was when they created that VQ series engine. Yeah. The moment that VQ came out, that is still a dynamite engine.
Oh, it's a great engine.
Bulletproof engine.
People make jokes about him sounding like a Hoover, but
but it was still a V6 that put out 300 horsepower.
I kind of like
and
the sound.
300 good horsepower.
But
good horsepower.
A lot of times they're owned by people who thrash and absolutely beat
on
them.
I will say, a lot of them get beat up. Like the Nissan Quest, the first-gen Nissan Quest minivan or second-gen
I
with
had a
the
soft
VQ.
spot for those just because at the time it was way more horsepower than any other minivan.
Yeah, no, I looked at one because I thought, oh, man, I could get one of those before I bought my Town and Country.
This is before they ever dreamed of putting a Pentastar into the Caravan. Yeah.
So in the older, I had the older V6 in my Town and Country, but I was looking at that and I was like, that's a Z engine.
The Caravan's like 205 or 206, whereas the friggin' Quest had a 240 horse.
Yeah, but it was still a VQ.
Yeah.
It was still identical
yeah.
to the Z engine. You could do all the Z stuff to it. And I remember looking at it going like, I could put Maxima wheels on it. I could lower it. I could do a VQ. I could do some VQ tuning stuff. And I could have a 300 horsepower minivan all day long. And then a year later, I ended up just buying my Pentastar Grand Caravan because I was like, well, that's 276 horse.
I
Pretty
haven't
dang good.
seen one on the road in ages, but the last gen Quest we got here in the States, that was a funky box on wheels.
Still, the new one is still kind of funky.
It's ugly, but kind of cool in its own weird way. I kind of like it, but I don't know if I'd ever. But I would support anybody who did.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, you know what?
Let's go to break.
So we'll take a quick little break, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, it's Dane Levi of the Rag Company, and do you know what's better than Q&A Thursday? Yes, that's right, it's Wash Wednesday. Not just because I host it, but because it is a genuinely entertaining and hopefully informative series where we take cool cars, cool owners, and wash in an impromptu interview setting. So make sure to check out Wash Wednesdays right here at the Rag Company YouTube channel. See some cool cars, see some cool people, and maybe learn a thing or two.
Hey guys, Levi for the Rag Company. And in case you've been living under a rock these last few months, well, have I got news for you. You can go back and binge the TRC Rex content you want. That's right, we have neared the end of our TRC Rex build. What is TRC Rex? Well, it's our 2004 Subaru WRX STI, and we literally bought this car and completely rebuilt it. So go to the Rag Company YouTube channel and you can binge literally from the start all the way to today, which, well, we're pretty much done. But the point is, you can do just like Netflix and binge every single episode from the comfort of your couch. So go check out TRC Rex right here at the Rag Company YouTube channel.
Hey guys, Zay there, the Rag Company, and here on the Rag Company YouTube channel, we've launched something new and exciting. We all love seeing garage tours and seeing how other people's garages are laid out, and we thought we would do our own twist on that. And while we aren't so obsessed, we're definitely good enough. And so what we want to do is make an entire new series, bring you guys along and doing garage tours of different people's garages to see layouts, what they've done with the walls, what they've done with the floors, what they've done with the lighting, the storage, the tools, the detailing products, and so on. It's going to be a really cool series to hopefully give you guys new ideas and maybe make it more relatable to everybody watching. It's not Obsessed Garage, but it's definitely good enough garage. So check that out here on the Rag Company YouTube channel.
And just like that, we're back. Wow, you couldn't have timed that any better.
I kind of feel like I tried my hardest.
Or any closer.
I ran in going like, because I
doing that power walk and shuffle.
I passed Nick, and so I was like, that's very strange.
Well, if he's out here, I must be safe because he's
I
the
don't
one
think
who
the
runs
show's
things
running
behind the
right
scenes.
now. Glenn's
Now
on
it's
it.
Glenn in there, so
Nice.
yeah.
All right, so
change up.
Nick saying, does the rotary polisher offer any advantages over a DA polisher? So Nick, yes, there are a lot of benefits. However, a DA has the capacity to do everything really well.
The versatility is there.
So, Nick says the PXE80 can't be a rotary at 3-inch only, at 3 inches, only has a DA function, if I am not mistaken, but it's a wonderful tool. I'd have to double check that. I just know there's a series of attachments that we can put on, and you can change the backing plates. So I could technically put on the rotary and then put a 3-inch backing plate on it.
Yeah.
I think I have that capability.
I swear we've
I don't
done
know.
that.
We'll have to look, Nick, and see. I'm sure their website says that you can learn more. I was just texting Chris from Flex right before the show started, so I'll see him next week. Espen says, there's a lot of detailers and weekend warriors who don't believe that microfiber is damaged by too hot of a wash. Can you, in TRC, make a video physically showing what's happening to the fibers? It's a good idea. It's a hard one to make, but...
Yeah, I'm taking. We'd need like a microscope.
Yeah, the hard part is they clump up like mushrooms. The fibers clump together. Yeah. And Excuse me.
Bless you. I was getting a phone call from John Green, and I'm like, does he know I'm in the show?
Yeah.
So somebody out there hopefully can attend to that.
So, yeah, the fibers all clump together. If you got to remember, they're like fingers, and when they clump together, they basically do this, and they get tighter, and only they lose the dexterity. Mm-hmm. So if you think of fibers like a hand, when they start to melt, they curl down, and it makes it much harder for them to do their job, just like it'd be harder for you to go about your day-to-day if your fingers were curled.
Well, and you remember
and
the
had a hard time
stories
to
where
do
you'd
it.
hear people say, like, oh, I boil my microfiber and do this. And it's just like, well, if you think about it, it's plastic to a degree, and you're going to subject that to extreme heat. It's not going to maintain the form that it's in when you start if you subject it to too high heat. There's a melting point.
Correct.
Like everything else. So, of course, it's not going to maintain that form. And when you're talking about smaller fibers, the structure of them is more susceptible to heat because it's got less mass to it. It's going to be easier to melt through that.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be the same.
Agreed. So, but that's a good idea, Espen. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Bill says, I missed your live for a couple weeks and have one last question for you. I need to, excuse me.
Need to decon the wife's Q7. What's a good ratio GSF to Green Star for decon foam and bucket wash?
About 100 mils in a 1,000 milliliter foam cannon, 100 mils of GSF, and 250 to 300 mils of Green Star. In that is how that works out.
Yeah.
It even says it on the back of GSF for added cleaning capability.
Yeah.
Add 250 to 300
Yeah, it should be written
milligrams
on the
of Green Star. So, but yeah, good luck with that, Bill. Nick says, I got 2 sizable purple towels in the mystery bag, but they aren't twist and shouts. Any ideas?
What? Well, it's a mystery, so do you have pictures you can
I
share?
think, are they the all-purpose Terry dryer in purple?
Would they be like a purple car wash towel?
You know, it's like a car wash towel, Dane, but bigger, 25 by 30, I think.
Bigger.
It's a towel we made. It's a towel that your dad and I and Anthony were working on as a part of the old Everyday Value line that he wanted to do for so long.
So I wasn't
It's
a part
a dryer.
of that. I wouldn't know
It's
that
a drying
one.
towel,
Okay.
but it's basically like a 25 by 30 all-purpose Terry.
Okay, I mean, if it's all-purpose Terry material, then it's solid.
And it's purple, I think. So that might be what was in the mystery bag. It's a great towel, nonetheless. It's an awesome little drying towel.
But it
was
sounds like a car wash towel and growth hormones.
it was basically the entry into a dry. It's like the first baby step into a drying towel.
Yeah,
Meaning
rather than
like-
using a standard detailing towel to dry with, now you're moving into drying towels.
Correct. Or maybe you don't really know about twist loops and you don't really aren't sure about waffle
Yeah.
weaves and you're like, I like this type of towel.
Go
We
with
just made a
what you
bigger
know.
one to dry it off and people could use it. So that might be it.
All right, Scott.
Scott says, good afternoon, Levi and Dane. Do you know if KCX Fine Cut has more or less cutting ability than the last cut?
A fine cut?
The same pad.
The last cut, I feel like, cuts more, depending on the pad you're using. Because the last cut has such a broad range you can work within.
Last cut has, I would assume Fine Cut has more cutting ability than the last cut, but last cut is just such a good product. It's
I just
really
know
good.
you could do literally everything.
You
with
can
the
do
last
everything
cut,
with Last Cut that you can't
unlike
do
most
with
other products.
Now,
You could
Fine
literally
Cut
use it for
paired
every
with the
step
Fine
if you
Cut
want.
pad, good combo, really good combo. But it still needs to be cycled down and finished.
Right.
It still needs to be followed with a finisher. So with microcut. So that's kind of it. Hans says, I don't think we have lacquer thinner here. At least I don't know what it would be called. Do you know, poets? Yeah, lacquer thinner. I don't know if you guys would have that in. I just know lacquer thinner is what I used to use. So. The argument they have for why microfiber isn't damaged by hot water is usually that the rags are boiled at the factory. Okay, well,
I mean,
there's a certain level of heat that is induced when they're in the dye house. But they're never boiled boiled. Like you just imagine a
So
hot
somebody's
pot of
imagining it
water.
on like a stovetop, just like sitting
Yeah,
there
no,
going
it's
through
like a big vat, and they increase the temperature to get the dye to adhere. But that's about it, and then it's washed after that, and then put through a dryer, usually to help dry all that out, and then it's usually that bolt of fabric is then taken and cut. But it's never a like you think now. The problem is there are only so many chances that you can do that before you damage the towel.
Yeah.
And our stance has always been, it's a tool, and we want you to be able to use that tool for as many uses as possible to get your money's worth out of it. And so if people
want
want
to treat them that way, we can't stop
By all
you.
means.
You're absolutely welcome to.
Yeah.
But when someone does that and then follows up by complaining that their towel no longer works, it's incredibly frustrating to
Well, and
you,
it's
to
like,
me,
so-
to Anthony, to hear that, and then somebody goes, they must not be good. They're not working anymore. And then they don't even think critically
Yeah.
one bit about how they've actually
Well,
treated
it's like my
the towel
daughter's
leading up to
shirt.
that point.
Well, I bought Hadley a shirt. She wanted a shirt from Monster Jam.
Yeah.
So I found the only one in her size because they had no adult smalls. They were out of adult smalls and extra smalls, and they only had a youth large. And I was like, and she's right
Yeah.
that cusp of youth extra large, large, and adult extra small. It's kind of that. It's a weird in between.
And she's not to that teenager baggy t-shirts are cool phase yet.
Right.
So
I got her a large, and it fit her barely. My wife goes, I just won't dry it. I'll wash it in cold, but I won't dry it because if I dry it, it's going to shrink.
yeah.
Now, my wife shrunk it.
Yeah.
She goes, crap, I put it in the dryer. Dang it, I wasn't going to dry that shirt. It shrunk the shirt.
Yeah.
Hadley got one wear out of it. Now, I could take that shirt, call up Monster Jam, and
Yeah.
go, "Duh, this stupid shirt, it doesn't even work. Doesn't fit my kid anymore. It
And you're
must be
just-
a bad shirt."
You're just conveniently omitting the part where you transformed it.
Right. I
Let's not
washed
talk
it.
about the most
We-
important thing that happened.
Yeah. We knew
But
buying
that
it that we
stuff
couldn't
irritates
do
me
that.
as much as people who complain that the car is clean when you're doing a car wash video.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. That's probably the most annoying comment in the world to me is when I see those.
Point is,
looking at
Esperin, you're
you.
right. So there's only so many. There's only so many things that can be done. Our goal is to try and make it the easiest way possible. Just don't
Yeah.
wash your towels on hot.
But if you
Don't
do it-
dry your towels on hot. And if you teach somebody that,
Yeah.
they can argue all they want. That's fine. They're going to have
If
limited
it
use.
works for them and they're not
They're
complaining
gonna
about
have,
it, fine.
And they're going to have limited use of their towels, and they're going to wonder why their towels don't always work anymore, or why they're not lasting as long, or why they're. And at the same point, I'll take care of my towels. I'll wash them right. But what does damage them? My steamer damages them. The chemicals that I use daily on them
It's the
damage
chemicals
them.
and it's heat. Those are
There's
the
a
two
lot of
things
other
that are
stuff
going
that
to
is gonna-
shorten the lifespan. the
Yeah,
most.
it's going to ruin it. So try and do the things like I need the chemicals to do the job. I need the steamer to do the job. I don't technically need the washer and dryer on hot to do the job. I can wash them on cold and get my towels really clean.
But you know what? We've all got towels at home that are from basically our first interaction with the rag company, probably. Still work fine in the cases we treated them well, when we learned how to treat them well. And that's totally a thing. Like, I have bath towels that go back that far, and they're still fine.
Yep. There you go. Hans says we do have a thinner and a spool thinner. Spool thinner is basically thinner 1-to-1 mixed with water. Interesting. Aaron says, as someone who's a college student level budget, is Optimum No Rinse with Koch Chemi Green Star a good pair for a bare minimum of basic car wash? I just want to do a basic wash, nothing else. Sure. Yeah, go for it. Just dilute the Green Star 10-to-1 so that you have plenty of product. So 1 liter will make you 10 liters of product.
Helps your budget, too.
So, will TRC be getting epic waterless wash in gallon sizes? Also, are Top Star and Nano Magic still stuck on the boat in the Pacific?
Wrong ocean.
Adam Hancock, wrong ocean. But good news, Top Star and Nano Magic are over there across the street.
Oh, my.
They landed yesterday. They arrived yesterday. Nate was over here taking pictures yesterday, getting ready for them to launch on the website. Now, I don't have a date because we still have to build the listing. We still have to get everything built into inventory.
Clerical work has
There's
to
a
be
lot
done.
of office work that needs to be done first. But we are a couple weeks away, truly, from launching those two products. So be ready. I walked over and I was like, I'm going to crack open one of these boxes, take a couple of these. And they're like, nope.
They come over like,
They're
slap
not
your
even in
hand
the
up. No, you don't.
POS system yet. We haven't counted them. We don't have an inventory control number yet. Do not touch. And then your dad walks over and he's like, oh, did you guys grab a couple bottles for the studio so you can start taking pictures? And Josh comes over and he's like, listen, old man, if you touch those things, I'm going to cut your hand off. And we were like, whoa, Josh,
We can't
seriously.
repeat half the things Josh says.
And Jeff was like, my bad, I will back off. I was just going to give one to Nate to take a picture, just one. And he goes, I don't care. Don't touch my stuff.
That's why we're taking him down to
So-
SEMA with us, though. He's
Yeah.
an attack dog, man.
So they good news. It's here. It's arrived, but it came from the Atlantic,
Yep.
not the Pacific. Kevin J. Last, love using Beadmaker and your thick orange towel for application on my 2018 Camaro S. Awesome, man. I'm
Nice.
glad you enjoyed it. That's
Guessing
great.
the FTW is the thick orange talent question, or
Yeah.
possibly an Eagle Edgeless. I would imagine the
I
FTW,
don't know.
though.
And back to Adam. As to the Epic waterless wash and gallon size, no idea. We just brought on the pints. I don't know if it's made in a gallon. You could check with PSS's website and see if they make a gallon of that. I don't think they do, but I'm not sure. Could be wrong.
It would
So,
be a
yeah.
good thing to have in a gallon.
Yep. Kevin says, oh, yeah. And my question is, what is O&R? It's called Optimum No Rinse, and it is the granddaddy and king of all rinseless washes. It's been out for, almost 20 years.
A long time now.
But
People still have a hard time adopting it as it's too newfangled technology. I just like my soap and water.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with soap and water in a vacuum as its own, but Optimum No Rinse functionally is better. Not subjectively better, but objectively
Yeah.
better
So, the
if your
man-
goal is cleaning.
Kevin, the man who developed O&R, Optimum No Rinse, is the founder of Optimum, Dr. David Gadusi. He is the man who holds, they call him the father of modern clear coat. He still
he is.
technically holds patents for DuPont, PPG, and BASF for their clear coats, and helped formulate and develop clear. He is the man who is
He knows what
kind of
he's
responsible for that.
talking
So
about.
he developed clear coat and basically said soap and water doesn't work for clear. You need something different because of the way the surface is. And so he developed this solution to wash clear coat properly. And he said soap and water is his famous words is soap and water is what the Romans used to clean chariots. Ivan LaCroix used that line for a
Yeah.
number of years as well.
I like to think we've advanced since then.
But that's basically what he said is, he goes, it's funny. And Ivan used to say this is one of my favorites was that you buy a new car, you got all the tech. You think about that new Ford truck you got, Dane, at the, all the technological stuff packed into that truck compared to like your 94 Toyota.
yeah. Night and
right?
day.
Night and day. But basically what he said is, so you got this new truck or new car, brand new. Let's say you buy a Tesla or something. You got a new car with all the fancy stuff. And then you go and use this old technology to clean your surface, to clean your car, is like using the newest Blu-ray DVD player and then going and buying an old 12-inch black and white television to use as your monitor to watch.
That's what you do,
right? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's the point of that. And so that's the statement. But it's a rinseless wash, meaning that you don't necessarily need a ton of water to wash the vehicle. You only need a couple gallons of water. We do a number of videos where we can use it with a steamer. We put it in a steamer. We can put it in a bucket. We can use it in a pressure sprayer. We can wash a car with 2 quarts of water.
Yeah.
In areas where you can't use water, or in California where you can't drip water on the ground.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of a drought, people can't wash their vehicles. O&R is perfect for this situation where you can wash. My Uncle Scott headed down to Arizona with his fifth wheel and his truck, and he wants to be able to wash his motorhome or wash his trailer.
Yeah.
Right? But there's water restrictions at the campground. They can't put in a hose and wash their trailers. He'll get in trouble for it.
Yeah.
So he called and said, hey, I want to learn how to do rinseless washing. My dad,
Well worth it.
when he bought his motorhome, I'd already taught him how to do rinseless. And he goes, can I use rinseless on the motorhome? I said, sure, try it.
Yeah.
He's been using O&R for the motorhome, loves it, says it looks better, cleans better, lasts longer, makes the whole thing work better. Taught his brother how to use it, and now that's what Scott's going to be doing down there. And Scott's going to go down and try and show some guys, well, this is how you wash now because of that. So those are kind of the things. So,
Well, and as we pointed out before, it gets easier to wash each time.
Yeah.
So
It's
it
got a
actually
memory.
improves. And before anybody says it, because there's always somebody who thinks they're freaking genius when they see any comment about O&R is, well, what do you do when the car's actually dirty? You know, like, well, there's more dirt and stuff. It's
Wash
like,
off the
you
dirt.
Pre-rinse, you hose off the dirt if you have
You
to.
go you wash the
whatever
mud off,
method-
and then you use O&R
Whatever
instead
method
of
you
soap.
would normally do, you wouldn't put just foam over caked on dirt. You get rid of that first.
All you do is replace your soap with O&R.
But once you're down to the standard dusty, dirty kind of car, then turn over to O&R. It's safer when used with a
I use
washing
it.
media and your paint. You're going to be safer using that than you will be with soap
I
and water.
love sanding with rinseless.
It changes it into such a fine process. You can really be exacting with it. And if you need more aggressive cut, you just go back to water. And then when you want to go back to something smoother, you go back to O&R. You just kind of balance between the two. It's perfect.
Yeah. So, Poet's saying, isn't it just thinner right here? Said Hans. And Hans says, that's what I'm thinking as well. Hopefully you guys get that figured out. Kirby Thompson says video issues.
That was a while ago.
Espen, Nick, the rotary have great cutting capability and no vibration. Vibration is not talked about enough, and a lot of detailers are suffering from nerve damage because of long exposure to vibrations. Yes, however, I am suffering from years of rotary abuse to my shoulders and elbows. So, and it was not created by
There's like a muscle tension that goes into it, making sure you're keeping the tool balanced and not running away from you, too.
Yeah.
You're tense all the time. It's going to eat away at you, too.
Yeah. And Kirby says, what? And then Ed says, since it's second hour, I can ask the serious question. What are you all giving out for treats, and how many trick-or-treaters do you guys normally get? So I'll go. Our street is very dark. My house is the most decorated house on the street. I don't know if we get any trick-or-treaters. So what we do is we've been in the house 4 years. Every year we go trick-or-treating to another neighborhood.
Yeah.
We don't trick-or-treat in our neighborhood. My kids hit the neighbors close to us, and then we just go somewhere else because it's very dark and there's a lot of old people. So I usually just put out a bowl of
it's very
candy.
trusting of you.
I don't care if they want to.
Oh, no, I'm being sarcastic.
But,
people
yeah.
out there are just like, oh, no, people will take it all. It's like, actually, I found people can be pretty honest. if
Yeah,
you let
we
them.
do a pretty good job. Like our kids, the kids that come back, we usually have candy left over in our bowl when we come home. Not too bad. We're going trick-or-treating. We don't know whether it's going to be in Harris Ranch or Harrison Boulevard.
Oh, wow. Harrison Boulevard, I love Harrison Boulevard because it reminds me of, like, just the streets you see.
Like a New England Hocus Pocus style.
It's a little Hocus Pocus. It's a little like Home Alone.
Yeah.
It's a little,
Uh-huh.
just
Well, it's
that
all Victorian homes.
classic 80s suburbia kind of
Yeah.
look to it. But the homes are from, like,
Not
the turn
80s
of the
suburbia,
century.
but Victorian.
But no. I mean 80s suburbia in those movies. But the houses
'cause they're all
themselves
Victorian
are from
houses.
Victorian era
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm stating that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is the most picturesque street.
Yeah,
It also looks
well-
like it's straight out of Halloween.
Yep, exactly.
The
So
movie.
that's where we're gonna go. A lot of big mansions, a lot of lot of decorations.
Harris Ranch is all new stuff, though.
Harris Ranch is all new houses. A lot of houses very close together. We found that's almost optimal because of the
if you're
fact
looking
that you
to
can hit
maximize
a lot of houses
your return on trick or treating.
much faster, and there's more people, and so you can hit all the houses, get all the candy. The blocks seem shorter.
Do people still like? Are there any people where you look and you go, oh wow, somebody out there still giving away king size bars? You know, kind of
No,
thing. Not really happening anymore.
No, but there was the lore. You go to Simplot
yeah.
Hill. You'd go if you could climb Simplot there's a good chance by the time. So it's this one hill.
If you climb it now, there's no house up there anymore.
Yeah, they took the house down, but there's this one hill that was a big green mound in the middle.
It's hundreds of feet tall.
Yeah, it's huge. And then there was a house on top, and that was J.R. Simplot, the Potato King.
Which later became the governor's mansion.
Yeah. Then the state said, we're not going to keep this up because no one wanted to live there.
Yeah, it was starting to get a little old.
So they tore the house down, and they still keep the grass because the grass is what costs the most.
Yeah.
And people would ice block it. But on Halloween, the theory was, the lore, climb Simplots, get a full-size candy bar. Ooh. But you had to climb the hill to get up there. Mm-hmm. So there are a couple years I'd get up there, and every year I get up there, I'd miss out on the full size. They'd get rid of all of them, but they were given out. They'd give you 2 fun size candy bars, which back in the day, a fun size was just a full size candy bar cut in half. It wasn't like the normal ones like now. You get
I was going to say, let me be
nuggets.
honest. If I climbed that and I got 2 fun size at the end, I'd feel a little bit,
right. You're like, screw this. I'm not going again. But then the next
like,
year,
well,
you'd make a plan. We're
not
going
doing
to
that
Simplots.
again.
Yeah, let's go to Simplots.
That's a lot of hill to climb.
So if you guys check out the website boiseog.com, so boiseog.com, they have stickers and hats and shirts and a lot of the old Boise lore. And one of them is the Simplot Hill, and it's an ice blocking champion. And then they just made a new one for Harrison Boulevard that's a full size Snickers.
Nice.
And it said, do you remember the lore of finding the house on Harrison that had the full size Snickers or full size candy bar?
And around there's definitely a few.
They go through hundreds of. I mean, it's crazy the number of people. So.
I love those neighborhoods.
But I don't get a lot of trick or treaters that I know of. Dane, what about you? Do you guys get any?
I get a decent amount because in Meridian we're like one of the neighborhoods that's closer to downtown Meridian, so there's a little more activity. Although I find in the case of my neighbors, it's pretty hit or miss as far as like who celebrates and stuff. So it's like for maybe every 4 houses you'll see 1 or 2 that celebrate. So yeah, I mean, I have one neighbor though who has like the full arrangement, kind of like what you're doing, who's just like nuts. They got the tunnel leading up to their front door, and I know they'll get people coming through. I feel like it's dwindled a little bit in past years, and the problem is I have 2020 in the back of my mind where it was all just kind of weird.
Well, we still went trick or treating last year and had a great time.
In my neighborhood, it was like dead silent. Also, it was like really cold, if I remember.
Yeah, last year we went trick or treating. We went to 2 years ago we went to Harrison, and then last year we did Harris Ranch, and had a great time. Yeah, just fine. Kids did just fine. They had their masks on, trick or treated. Everybody had masks. Other people had candy delivery systems, so they had like the tube that they would shoot a piece of candy through, so the kids would just stand at the end and put their hands under the tube,
using like a dog door or letter
kind of
box
it was
something.
it was great. But it was kind of fun to see the different versions where people would put a bag out or they would put
I just do the stereotypical go to Costco, grab a couple of big bags of candy, and hey, whoever shows up, and if they don't, hey, it's my trick or treat.
That's right. That's right. That's the way we do it.
And that's how you look like this. Okay.
Aaron says, oh, by the way, is that Anthony in the future ball? I forgot what that's called. It's a crystal ball. Yes. There's Anthony in there. He said he wanted to be in here spiritually. So we put him in there.
Like trying to pat it.
He's looking at me. He knows what's up. John Brooker. Thoughts on mixing product brands, for example, O&R with Beadmaker. Works just totally fine, John. Could totally do that. Yep. I wouldn't mix them together, but I would use O&R to wash the car and a Beadmaker to
using them on the same vehicle is fine.
Yeah. And then Han says, Aaron, it's called a crystal ball. John says, is that the synergistic effect of using chemicals in the same brand lineup legit or hype?
It actually is legit, depending on the line.
It depends on the line. And it depends on the product. So like Optimum, everything in the Optimum line is designed to work with itself and work together because they usually have a basic core process.
Yeah, the chemistry still comes out in the end, where it's all designed by the same person.
Right. PNS has that same synergistic capability. G-Technic has that same synergistic capability. And Koch Chemie has that same synergistic capability. Now, where they differ is in the uses of the product. Like you can't use their all-purpose cleaner right after you put on their sealant because the sealant, it's not going to benefit anything. It'll remove the sealant. So you have to remember the way it's going to work. But you can wash with their soaps, you use their sealant after, it's going to have a much easier time bonding than using another company's sealant over that product. That makes sense.
Basically, you knew that if you mix together a couple of their chemicals, you weren't going to create some kind of toxic stew or something that was going to be a problem, which was a big part of why they emphasize. I think they were one of the very best at emphasizing that it's okay to mix them together compared to other lines where it just didn't cross their minds necessarily.
Well, and it changes because what you don't know is some products are designed a certain way or have certain base chemicals in there that aren't designed to work with
like
this other one.
Clay
at
and
all.
tar remover. Don't put those two together.
No, but
that's a bad idea.
But certain waxes, certain sealants, they're not designed to bond to certain areas. And so you can't stack certain things on top of other certain things. And a lot of people go, it works, but I got a lot of streaking and it took a long time to cure. It's like, that means it didn't work.
Yeah.
If you got a lot of streaks and it took a long time to fully cure and work the right way, that means it didn't work. No. Don't do that. Do it this way. Try these two things. And so, but O&R and Beadmaker work just fine together. They're great products. Ricky, have you guys used a dry pod? Sort of like a floor dryer, but can be positioned in the car carpet to speed up drying when doing extraction or another interior cleaner. Kind of. Yeah, I had a small carpet fan that we would put in a car and throw it in there and run it. So
get a smaller version, the Drypod Nano.
There you go. Nick Stessman, can I send pics, but where do I send them to? Nick, you can send them to me, levi@theragcompany.com. Jonathan Rosa, should I use DreamWorks weekly as a drying aid? Beadmaker applied already. You mean DreamMaker? Yeah, you can. We would recommend you use Beadmaker once a month, DreamMaker the other 3 times if you're washing weekly.
I'm sure Shrek appreciates your support, though.
Yeah. Josh Brodel says the mystery bag had 2 25 by 36 lavender terry drying towels. There you go. That was it. And then Han says, Ricky, I use regular air vents. Mostly drying speeds up with an air movement. If I really need to speed it up, also I'll put in a space heater. Yeah, that works too. So, Bearded Hunter, on the topic of adding Green Star to GSF, would it be safe to add PNS's all-purpose cleaner to Pearl shampoo? Yes, same thing. Mm-hmm. Adam says, I'm getting ready to paint my new 3-car garage. Do you recommend flat or satin paint sheen for the walls? I know flat looks better and absorbs light, but satin is easier to clean up. Adam, I'm a complete psychopath. I go high gloss on all my walls.
Oof.
I do like my house, my kitchen, my living room, my bedroom, I do gloss.
Now, when you do that gloss, is that gloss on a textured surface or is it flat?
It's gloss on a textured surface.
Okay, so you want the kind of ripples to show.
I want the ripples to show. Okay. I want the gloss mostly because I can run lower wattage light because it bounces
you're
off
getting
of that.
The bounce.
I get the bounce of the light. Also, it's far, far, far more durable than matte or satin.
Well, yeah, somebody comes along
much
and scratches.
stronger.
It's going to be
it cleans easier. You can wash the walls better. And with kids and pets, I
will say it's much easier to touch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to touch up. It's easier to wash because we did one when we bought our house. My wife was wanting to paint one of the rooms. Yeah. She's like, I got a satin. And I was like, I'm a gloss man. You've been married to me for this long. I only like gloss colors. Like I want it in gloss. And she goes, yeah, but I thought I'd just try it. We put it on the wall. Mm-hmm. I got half it done. And she's like, you're right. It needed to be gloss. And I went down, got myself some gloss, came back, same color, just put it on a gloss. And she's like, that's the way it's supposed to look. There's a gloss. I like gloss.
Yeah.
I like that. When I do white trim, I do bright white gloss trim.
You are the master of shine.
I do that for my house. Now, in the garage at my shop, when we redid my shop, I did gloss. I did white gray with a red stripe.
Yep.
And I did all gloss.
Yeah, you did.
Because it's easier to wash. It's easier to clean. It's easier if you get dirt or grime or anything on there. It's easier to take a rag and some water and just clean it up.
It really depends on knowing your environment and what you're going to be doing. Like if it needs to be durable, yeah, you got the right idea because it's going to be easier to fix if anything happens to it.
Like I have a satin door in my garage that I haven't painted. I haven't painted my garage. It came painted when I moved in.
Sure.
My goal is to go full gloss on the walls. Mm-hmm. So I've got a flat door. On that door, I hang a garbage bag, right? So I can put trash and stuff in it.
Yeah.
My kids will throw soda cans out of the car or their garbage at the wall.
Yeah.
at
Doesn't
that
matter
door.
if it makes it or not.
No, it doesn't matter. Then they pick it up and put it in. But it's already smacked the door and it's
Right.
already hit. So I have all these food stains and soda
Impact
stains
marks.
and marks. And I take a towel. I take one of my rag company towels and I'll spray some water on it or I'll spray some O&R on it. And I'll go to wash the wall. It doesn't wash
No.
the same way as if I was in my house and I was washing one of the walls in the house. I could clean all that stuff off,
Yeah.
you know.
Now,
So.
I do like the approach, though, of doing something like an obsessed garage style where if I'm going to do the ceiling, I would go for like a satin or like a matte black or something that doesn't reflect as much because then it gives more that effect of like, hey, the ceiling's not really there, you know,
Yeah.
kind of feeling. Or if you're doing like a, you know, like a concert venue or something like that. I get it. I understand why that's a thing. But when it comes to finishes on walls at a place that you're going to be just seeing like stuff splattered on it, sometimes impacts, I totally get why you do it that way because it is true.
Well, like,
if you have a satin or matte finish,
kitchens and bathrooms,
much harder.
Kitchens
to
and
take care of.
bathrooms, you should always use a gloss on your walls. When I painted houses for a year, I learned that you use gloss. You can go semi-gloss, but it's not going to be as easy to clean,
Well,
especially
like
if you have
Nick said
stains. and stuff.
eggshell. He's partial. To
Yeah, I
that.
can't even hear Nick in my headphones, so I wish I could hear it. But yeah, eggshell's another one that people could do.
I like the look of eggshell.
I go
But yeah,
semi-gloss
I get it.
or gloss for everything because of that. And I don't go high gloss.
Yeah.
High gloss is almost too much.
Yeah.
And you never go high gloss on a red or a black.
No.
You always either go a semi or satin for those.
It could be too much otherwise.
Right. But whites, grays, any version of that,
Yeah.
I say go high gloss. It looks so good. It looks so good.
Or
And
if
people
you're
don't
in my
realize.
head, you just go, let's shiplap everything.
Yeah, that too. You can do that.
Let's do that
So,
instead.
But
All right. I
all
got
right,
Chris here.
says Levi's right on those purple towels. They're huge. And after asking about the creatures, I didn't want to ask about the purple drying towels.
It's okay to ask. That's what this whole show is about.
That's
Feel
all right.
free.
That's
Keep
all right.
asking. That's okay.
Hans yells out, "Clean car cleaning!"
Oh, Hans. My number one least favorite comment to see anytime we post a video.
Nice. Then David
I
M
will tell you,
says-
every time somebody says the car is clean, it's not.
Yeah,
It
right.
is not
Yeah.
clean. I don't care what you think you see on camera. It's not.
David M says, "Afternoon, guys. Listening to you guys in the garage while finishing up a maintenance wash. Thanks, man. Appreciate it." All right.
On to page 1.
Dave Morrow says, "Good day, guys. It's in Australia. We're into summer.
Mm.
How best to store ceramic coatings? It gets very hot in my garage. Is the fridge okay? Then I take them out for a while before I use them to room temp." Yes, the fridge
Yeah,
is
give 'em a
great.
little time to
Honestly, if you're in a hot area, you should think about getting a small, because you can buy even really small fridges right now.
Yeah, like a mini fridge.
They even have like soda style fridges.
I just set it to like below room temperature, but not like full
But they,
fridge
if you look,
cold.
but if you look on like Amazon or eBay, you can find these little 6-pack fridges. They'll hold
Yeah.
a 6-pack of cans.
They're cute. They're just
They're
like
very
little-
tiny. They're like a desk mount cooler or fridge that you can put. Those are perfect
It's
for
like
your
a little
garage.
mini treat bar. You just kind of,
Yeah,
here we go.
It's perfect for your garage to be able to just put one of those on your workbench or something. They're really small. They're
And coatings
very
are
tiny.
normally small packages.
Yeah, and you can
so.
just fill that fridge with your coatings, with waxes. At my
stuff
shop,
that you don't want to melt.
yeah, at my shop we had the fridge, like the big stand-up fridge, and we opened the door, and that first shelf was just reserved for waxes, coatings, any of like our high-end Swiss waxes,
Yeah.
things like that, where we didn't want them to melt in the shop because the shop didn't have air conditioning, and if it was hot outside, it would get hot in the shop.
Yeah. And then just
And-
throw a little candy bar in there for good behavior.
Yep. Yeah.
There
And
you
that's
go.
always a good time. So I always like the fridge with ice novelties, a freezer with ice novelties. Aaron says, "Optimum no rinse. Dang, I'm 20 years old. So O&R is as old as me." There you go, man. Han says, "I think I do 70% of the cars I wash with O&R. Love that stuff."
great.
You're right, man.
It's just plain good.
Yeah. Hans says, "Levi, you're not watching TV in black and white without a remote." Say what? Yeah. Rod says, "When using the gauntlet towel for drying, do you moist the towel before drying your car, or can you just start drying your car with a dry towel, or just use a drying aid with a towel bead maker?" Either one.
I prefer the drying aid
Sometimes
approach, but
you
not
want
every
to,
car
yeah,
needs it.
but sometimes you do have to pre-moisten the towel
Yes.
because it creates what's known as capillary action, meaning that the liquid on the surface, once it finds the liquid on the towel, it moves that way. it'll instantly go, hey, let's follow the leader.
It's like a learning curve to it because it's like difficult, and then you reach that just slightly moist, and then it's perfect. Everything works great. But
Other
then
times, if
get
you
to
throw
saturate.
that towel on a dry surface, it's going to take a few seconds. So if you ever watch any of our videos where we throw a towel on that wet surface,
you don't just immediately yank it.
we don't put it on and pull it off. We literally put it on and let it sit for a little bit, maybe a 5-second beat, and then we pull. So
And it's like a slow pull not because you're trying to be dramatic about it, but actually because it works better.
we're trying to get the water to absorb
Yeah.
into the towel so that it can then create that capillary action for us.
Give it a little time to work.
So both work.
Yeah.
But we would always recommend pre-spray the towel, whether it's with the drying aid, whether it's with some O&R or whatever you're using. Heck, you can even give it a mist with your pressure washer, just a psh, 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 and then throw it on there. It works easier when it's got a light bit of water to it. Aaron says APC or degreaser pre-spray, then use Optimum No Rinse. Yes, Aaron, that's exactly right. There you go. Don't You Wish says the Pixie 80 is $400 plus. Oof. However, I may just have to go for it though. It is a killer tool.
It's worth
killer tool.
man. Compared to a lot of
Really
tools,
good.
it really
Yeah.
is.
Han says, Rod, all those things can be done with a moist towel. Just picks up water faster than a bone dry one. Correct.
Yeah.
Jamie the cleaner says, noticed how the mystery rag bag was packed with terry towels. Was this to show off the terry line specifically a bit more? I'm enjoying them for sure. Jamie, we're not that smart.
The terry towels are just great do-it-all towels, hence
So,
the all-purpose
In case
terry
anybody
name.
was wondering, I don't know if you see our colors here.
Yeah.
We tried to pick towels in our lineup that work with this color scheme of green,
that's what
orange,
you
and
get.
purple for Halloween, and that's kind of what we did. And we tried to keep them at a certain price point to where we were maximizing value.
Well, we didn't
at
want to
that
give you
price.
like something that was too niche of
Yeah.
a towel that wouldn't go with another product well. So all-purpose just makes sense.
Yeah. RJ Mari says, if I use O&R as mouthwash, can I go longer between brushing? I don't know. I probably wouldn't recommend it. So Han
can't
says,
imagine it
oh,
tastes like
snap, the
anything
cleaner's here. I'm in hiding now. It's Jamie the cleaner's there. And then Tim Jennings says, Levi, not a detail question, but have you tried the limited edition Pepsi Cream Soda and the Pepsi Black Cherry? I know you're a Pepsi fan. They're both pretty good. Tim, I had the option to order those this week. When I put in our order on Friday, I held off because they were in such high demand. I let our Pepsi rep sell those.
Okay.
So I said, I'll try them when they're not so hot.
Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to try them. But
Interesting.
spoonfuls. I've been using my Works Hydra Shot to spray O&R out of the bucket into my car prior to my rinseless washes. Works great for getting some more serious dirt off before breaking out that ultra black sponge. That's
call.
the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Best way. And then Kirby Thompson says, for this Halloween, we're not doing candy. We're handing out small packs of goldfish crackers.
You know what?
Dang,
I'm not even
Kirby,
mad.
that's
I
pretty
love
dope.
goldfish crackers.
That's pretty dope. My kids would be pretty happy about
Yeah,
that. They
that's
love
actually-
Augie has gotten on a goldfish kick, so much so that I've had to slow him down because he randomly sneaks goldfish, and what he doesn't realize is that it's such a slow burn for him sugar wise. If it keeps
Yeah.
it just it's like a
Well, he's
it's like
gonna
a
have
nice
just a mountain in his
yeah.
stomach.
It's like a nice
log.
log on a fire. It's just it's gonna have a good slow burn. Not
Has
like
he
dry
discovered
tinder.
Cheez-Its yet?
Oh yeah, no, that's why I
Okay.
keep the Cheez-Its away, and
Yeah.
he uses the girl. He's been trying all the different flavors of goldfish.
Oh man.
So,
Yeah, I could see that.
Kevin says, "What's your go-to tire dressing?" I'm currently using Chemical Guy's Silk Shine, but I also like Optimum Tire Shine. So I really loved Optimum tire dressing. Right now, I'm testing a couple different ones that I'm using, but I really like just using Dynamic
Yeah.
from PNS and mixing it as a tire dressing, or just mixing it 4-to-1 and using it as a tire dressing. However,
I was gonna say KCX PSS.
KCS PSS is
quite good
really
on
nice.
tires.
The other one that's really, really good is utilizing the dang it, I forgot what I was going to say.
G-Technics
T2.
Yeah,
that's
like
a
that
good
one
product
too.
too. So
But the reason I like PSS is because it's almost like putting on a very thin, light oil. So it's a totally different kind of experience than using more of a traditional gel type product.
Aaron says, have you guys seen of Halloween Talking Light. Someone make Halloween Talking Light show. Okay, cool.
I'm guessing it's kind of like those synchronized
I think so.
Christmas house display things people do.
I think so. Jamie the cleaner says, I'm watching you, Hans. Hans says, you can't see me. And Scott says, anything specific that you're especially excited to see at SEMA? Travel safe. See you guys in a couple weeks.
We're almost caught up, so we can expand on this for a minute.
So we got about 16 minutes. So for me, I'm excited. This year, we're right next to Avery Dennison. Literally right next to Avery Dennison, which means we get to watch Justin and the boys, Charlie and Justin and Chad and them wrap some cars.
Yeah.
They're going to be demoing their new PPF, which we're going to have 2 training classes for next year here at the Rag Company, as well as a PPF training class.
Nice.
So any of you, I'd recommend you check out the Avery Dennison website. They're going to start announcing the classes sometime in December. And then I will say I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see ExoShield, our friends at ExoShield. We haven't seen them in 2 years, so I'm very excited to see them.
Forever.
It's just there's that kind of stuff. And then I'm just excited to see how it is. Currently, I listened to the video they made where Tom came out, the guy that is the president of SEMA, said we've got currently like 56,000 badges sold. And we're expecting, and he made this video last week. He goes, we're expecting another 50,000 to sign up this week. So we're going to have an attendance of about 100,000, which is 80,000 less than 2 years ago.
Substantially less.
It's pretty light. And there are 1,300 confirmed vendors instead
compared
of
to a
1,800.
Okay, that's not that much less.
So a third of the vendors have pulled out. So it'll be 2/3 full. And then if they hit 100,000 badges, might be pretty nice.
Well,
at the current 54,000, it'll be good, but it's going to be light. It'll be light.
People hear the numbers and they're like, "Oh, that sounds terrible. It's small or whatever." I like the idea of like having a little extra breathing room. It's not quite as crowded. That's good. But I understand from a show point of view, they're kind of like, please God, everybody sign up. We need the numbers. Like I understand that because they live and die by that. But yeah, for our purposes, it should be pretty nice. I don't think it's going to be as hectic. I think we'll actually be able to see stuff as opposed to like having to stand behind a crowd to see something or go on an odd day to be able to see something.
I think it'll still be a good show. I'm excited to see everybody. I'm excited to go to Justin's party, Detailers of the Las Vegas party.
Look forward to seeing
Justin
everybody.
Days.
That's a
I'm
big
excited
part
to
of it.
see everybody there.
I do know one
really
thing,
excited.
though. Gabe has been pressuring me a lot to get pictures of one particular thing he saw. And I'm pretty sure it'll be the exact same building as us. Is Toyota, or maybe it was some equipment supplier that does, accessories for Toyotas. There's going to be a reinvention of the classic Chinook camper.
Yeah.
That I guess
that.
is going to be on a Toyota Tacoma most likely, and it's going to be like that integrated, the whole camper shell and all that stuff. I'll be curious to see that.
Yeah, for those of you
really
wondering,
like
the
those little guys,
Chinook was designed in the late 70s.
Yeah.
And it was a over camper built on a little tiny Toyota truck frame and attached to the Toyota. And some of them were dualies.
It was comical seeing them because you're like, it's such a teeny weeny little pickup truck with this massive shell on it. But at the same time, they were reliable.
They were super reliable.
Super effective at what they did.
It's one of those things that I have a feeling we're going to start seeing. If this comes out, I have a feeling we're going to start seeing customs because think about what we saw the last few years was the same version of that style Chinook on those C30 square body trucks.
Yeah.
The crew cab C30 trucks with some of those campers on them that were integrated in the old campers. Those are becoming very popular and seeing people build kind of that style of stuff. So I think we're going to see some of the older Toyota pick, like if people are going to find the old Chinooks and put like 2 JZs or something
where it's like the pickup truck equivalent of like those Class A motorhomes that took vans and integrated the bodies into it and stuff, like with a Volkswagen Eurovan or something. Or there's a lot of Sprinters and stuff. I mean, you see them around. You know them when you see them.
What are you most excited to look at, though, do you think?
As far as seeing vehicles, I always love seeing the crazy stuff people come up with. I really liked that OBS that you showed. yesterday. And in addition to the Chinook one, which I think will be super cool, I really hope that they have a Rivian R1T pickup there.
Yeah.
Because I've been dying to
put in
see
your
one
order
again in
for
person.
one.
I remember years ago I saw the prototypes they had. And it gave me a pretty good idea of them, but at the time I didn't think I'd be
now
able to
you're a
afford one or
potential
anything like
buyer.
that. Now I have a deposit down on
Yeah.
one, so some point in the future I hope to have one. I'd love to be able to see one and just get a better feel for it, get sense of scale and all that.
Well,
Because
what's
I know it's
fun
supposed
there
to
is
be
there's the possibility of being able to get into it, actually sit in the car.
and just get a feel for it. Because I know it's a little bigger than a Toyota Tacoma, which is a truck I've had, but a little smaller than an F-150, which I have an F-350. But the F-150, 250, and 350 all share the same cabin after you go behind the front, quarters and stuff. So they share a similar cab. It's just laid out a little differently. So, I'm just trying to get a sense of scale and everything. But I'm really excited for that because I think as far as like the future trucks and all that stuff go, they're in a very potentially hot market, but they got to produce. So we'll be curious to see if there's anything there.
I'm excited to see what there's always the car of SEMA every year.
I feel like it's going to be Broncos. We're going to see a ton of Broncos.
Yeah. What about Mavericks?
Oh, Mavericks. You know what? Mavericks were a sleeper success. I could see it already. I think
2
they're
years
going to
ago
be
was the Supra.
Incredibly popular.
I remember in 2004 I went and it was the Magnum wagon.
Oh, man.
Everybody had a Magnum
I would have
wagon.
loved to have seen that because I always thought the Magnums were kind of cool.
It was pretty rad. It was a good year for that because everything was done, all these custom Magnum, and it was like, oh, these are rad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to see the different cars because there's usually a car that they'll send 15 of them out to different builders and they'll do it. I think a couple years ago was when the Mustang got redone.
Yeah.
Or the
Focus
ST.
And there was a year where they had the Lexus LCs.
Yeah, the
everywhere,
LCs,
which was kind of like pre-Supra, but that's where you had all those, which I love those. But the Supra, was like everywhere last time. But this time, I feel like you're going to see a ton of Broncos. But I do look forward to seeing a lot of Mavericks because that's actually, for what it is, it's an honest, simple, little affordable pickup truck that I think is going to introduce a lot of people to a pickup style platform who may have never considered before. At least based on the market research they did, they were trying not to convert existing pickup buyers. They were trying to get people who may have otherwise shopped for like a crossover or something, get you into a pickup truck just to get the idea in there. Then maybe they can get you into other pickups afterwards.
There you go.
So, very cool.
So Han says, Levi, how's the stitch-up sofa holding up? Any stabbers at the stitches? No, it's still staying stitched, thankfully. Fingers crossed, right? Ed says, I wash exclusively with O&R. Recently started pre-soak with Epic since OptiClean isn't available. Oops, sorry. Since OptiClean isn't sold here anymore, Beadmaker for Dryinade works every time. There you go. David says, I dry the windows first to get the towel wet before moving to the paint. That's another good way. I do that same thing as well. Hans yells out traffic film remover.
That's TFR.
TFR. Shoemaker says Optimum tire gel is pretty sweet. It is. It's still one of my favorites. Jamie the Cleaner says the purple terry drying towel is the towel that never ends. I was very surprised when it kept unfolding into one towel. It's huge. It's a big towel.
That seems to be the consensus here.
John Booker says, thoughts on not polishing the paint after a mechanical chemical decontamination. I can't afford a polisher yet. Would you just use a sealant or a wax afterwards for best gloss effects? Yes. Yeah. And I would really, 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 really be careful with pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Too much pressure is what's going to cause that marring.
If you feel like you're applying any pressure,
very gentle.
It's too much pressure.
Yeah, be very gentle. Light,
just
easy.
Let it glide.
Light and easy. That's all you need to be.
All right, Ed.
Thanks for another great Q&A. Happy Halloween, safe travels, and to and from SEMA. Thank you, Ed. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We fly out Monday morning at 6 a.m. Our flight is at 6.
It's our first time flying to SEMA.
It's our first time flying to SEMA, our first time having a hotel at SEMA.
It's going to be
as a
different,
company.
But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be different but fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a good time. We're actually going to go visit. One thing you guys could know now, we are going on Monday afternoon. We're headed to Counts Customs to take a tour of the shop and see everything. If you guys have been watching Counts Customs this season, we've had a lot of signage in the backdrop with the Rag Company logo. We've been giving them towels for about 3 years now.
Yeah. Maybe even longer, actually.
It's been about 3 years, but this season is the first real season where we've gotten our logo in the backdrop from them, but they use our towels exclusively. And it's been really great. So it's going to be fun to see everybody and go finally say hi and hang out with everybody there. So pretty cool. So we're going to do that Monday afternoon before SEMA. Go take a look and see the shop. So we're pretty excited about it. So
we get to Vegas pretty early in the morning, don't we?
Yeah, 6:45. Then you and I and Juan head over to Justin's shop to work on the car.
Yeah,
Get it ready and ready to go.
I guess I'll help Freddie shoot an intro.
Yep.
So that'll be cool. The car hauler looked cool.
Yeah, car hauler's pretty rad that picked up the car. So Josh Brodo says dibs on the PPF class. He wants to be the employee in the class. So that'll be good. And then are we done with
We are
comments,
caught up. Imagine that.
You sure there's not another page?
It's been a pretty
9 minutes.
leisurely
Everybody's
pace.
all done, man.
Nope,
Okay.
that is the page. It's been a lighter show today, but that's okay. I enjoyed our little chats.
Yeah. No, that was good. And like we said, guys, you've got to make sure you're following us. Make sure you're staying on top of us. Follow me. Follow Dane. Follow Anthony. He's not going, but you can follow him anyway.
He appreciates it all the same.
Follow Juan. That way you got it on there because Juan puts out some really fun TikTok content.
Yes.
And we'll probably be doing a lot of TikToks. Juan and I are shacking up for we're sharing a hotel room. You and your pops are sharing a hotel room, and John and Josh, the Cowboys, have their own hotel room. So we're very excited. Should be a good show. It's going to be very interesting to see what we can do.
We'll do lives from there. It just won't be formal like this.
Yeah. Dan Pfeiffer says, was just in Vegas last weekend.
Yeah.
Congrats, Dan.
Nice.
And then Rooftop 923 says, can you detail a car now or have to wait till spring?
Where are you located, Rooftop?
Bro, you can detail right now and have it protected. And then detail it again in the springtime.
Yep.
I always sell customers a winter prep detail, and then I get it to get it ready for winter, and then to clean all the junk off from winter. So, Tom Kirby says, "Wow, a week without Q&A is going to be odd, but have a safe and enjoyable trip." Thank you, Kirby. You know what we'll probably do Thursday about 1:00 Vegas time. Maybe we'll pop onto the Instagram or the Facebook, maybe both, and we'll just kind of chat. Maybe we'll give you guys you a little fix. You know, just get it going so you guys can see that.
We'll see how it goes.
So there you go. Han says, thanks, guys. And Broadcast Music says, you guys are the best. 5 stars. I don't think that's real, but thank you, Broadcast Music. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, just stay tuned. Hang out. Keep up on it. The only reason we're not doing one is because it's so busy at SEMA. It's very hard to do that stuff.
This year is kind of an oddball, so maybe we will have time.
We just
don't know until we get there because every time it's a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right.
Dane, take us home.
Well, guys, unless you got any last-minute questions you want to get in here in the last 3 minutes, I'm just going to do my usual appeal to you to subscribe to the main Rag Company channel, as well as the Rag Company podcast channel and the Rag Company FAQ channel, which, if you're watching the Q&A, you got to check out the Rag Company FAQ channel. If you're not familiar with that one, that is where you can go and get tons and tons of info about products, techniques, you name it. If it's detailing or product related, we probably talk about it there. And there's all kinds of stuff. And it's not just us either. It's not just Levi. It's not just myself or Anthony. It's also people from the companies whose products they're talking about. So you're getting it straight from the source, which is always nice. So there's a lot of options there too. But, if you're not feeling like talking about products today, you can also just check out the podcast where it's just more like what we've been doing today. Just a little chat, just hanging out and talking about our weekends and stuff. And usually Anthony's there. So that's also nice. But
also, I would say just a little teaser, Dane. You've got something special for our subscribers for Halloween.
I do have something that I was going to. Okay. So you guys are watching right now. You guys are going to be in on the secret.
A taste.
So you're getting an exclusive. So I have this little plan to drop something that's going to look like it's an accident, like a video gets released that's not supposed to be released, and it'll come out on Halloween. Probably in the morning.
Okay, whatever. Yeah.
But it'll be a fun video. It's basically a video that we had.
I think that's all they need to know.
Good wishes for it.
Yeah.
Things kind of
It's good. Dane and I just watched it today. It's great.
To the more sinister.
I think you guys are going to like it.
I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So you'll know it when you see it. I promise. When you see it, I mean, okay, I'll tell you.
It's going to drop on Sunday.
The thumbnail literally says, "Do not watch this video." But I'm telling you, just between you and me, watch the video.
Oh, very nice.
All right, guys, that's really it. That's all I'm saying. So keep an eye out for that coming up this weekend. It should be a lot of fun. You never know. Stuff can pop up. So to have a great weekend, have a great Halloween. We'll take a week off, and we'll see you when we come back in 2 weeks. Safe till then. Bye-bye.
See ya.